Welcome back to Yankees Unloaded, powered by Prize Picks, and man, not powered by the Yankees bats. I can tell you that much. The non-existent. We're going to talk about it. So if you guys don't like, I guess, realism, negativity, whatever people want to call it, it really depends on who's listening. Because some people might listen and be like, "Wow, you guys are negative. It's super early in the season," and some will listen and be like, "Damn, that's exactly what I'm thinking." We're going to be talking about the idea of really weighing, is it too early for the Yankees to completely revamp this lineup with call-ups? Because right now, it is a crap. I mean, it's craptastically bad. I don't even know what to say about this lineup. I'm going to invent words to describe this lineup. It's terrible. I mean, Trent Grisham, what did you say, Gary? It was 6 for what?
Trent Grisham,
45.
I actually want to put full context to how bad the lineup is. Trent Grisham is 6 for 45. Okay. That is unheard of bad. Really ridiculous. Jazz is, I almost hesitate to say he's heating up. He has like a hit. He has like maybe 2 or 3 hits the last like 4 days. And so
Houston's
like
heating up. So good news for him is it'll be warm there.
Yes. Jazz is 10 for 56. Randall Grichuk is 0 for 12. JC Escara is 0 for 11. Austin Wells, who hit a home run, I believe, yesterday, and I couldn't have cared less, is 6 for 39. Ryan McMahon is 4 for 35. And last but not least, because we thought Caballero just yesterday was going to be the hero, is 7 for 48. And we've got Anthony Volpe coming back, and we're talking about rehab assignments like he's some seasoned veteran. This offense is in a bad way. It's a bad spot, Jake. And there's no real way. And I understand we're going to talk about Aaron Boone and the plethora of mistakes that he made today. It was absolutely unacceptable. Matter of fact, I actually texted you and said this was the first F- performance of Aaron Boone's season. F-.
F-.
And you have to go really far to get to that point. You have to bench players that are hitting well, right? You've got to get scheduled days off. You've got to make no sense of your substitutions, right? You have to make no sense of when you pull guys. All of it has to be there. And today it was. So we're going to talk about that. But Jake, I don't really know where you go with this lineup of just scrubby dudes other than proving you're willing to give up their job for somebody who wants to take that job, because there's not enough urgency in the locker room right now. It's just not acceptable. And I understand, before I kick it back to you, there are going to be people who say, well, it's April 12th. You don't lose or win divisions now. And that's true. But to some degree, you have to ask yourself, of any contender you've watched win a World Series ever, should the floor ever be possible to be this low?
No.
The answer should be no, but it's not, because the bar has moved. The bar now, Jake, is we're going to be fine. Because there's 162 baseball games. Some would argue too many baseball games. We've got plenty of time to get it figured out. You can deal with the June, July, the Boone swoon. You can get hot in August. You can be horrible in April. And you've all got plenty of time to start 6 for 45, 10 for 56, 0 for 12. And you can just use the long runway that is the Major League Baseball season and get to the postseason. That's not the goal anymore. The goal is to be a World Series champion. And I feel like it's a prerequisite, Jake, to not play this brand of baseball for any period of time, especially over 2 weeks, and expect to go beat the Dodgers, beat the Blue Jays in big series, right? Beat a Boston, beat a Houston. This is just unacceptable baseball. It's not smart. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun in any way. Jake, I'm glad you're finally bringing up the fact that the Yankees may have to use their farm system and maybe not even free agency or the trade market to actually put some steam under their ass, because right now there's just no one's worried about their job right now.
This reminds me, and I can't believe we're talking about this in April, right? I didn't think we'd get to this point. This reminds me of 2022. Remember when they had to call up Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza just because everyone else sucked? They needed a spark. They're like, and you had the guys, you had like Paul O'Neill, and Joe Girardi wasn't there at the time, but I remember John Flaherty talking about it. It's like sometimes when the vets aren't doing their job, they need kind of a fire lit under their butt, essentially. because they didn't say ass. I would say ass, but they didn't. So
Yes.
fire lit under their ass, we'll say. And unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to call up somebody that's better than them, but it does mean calling up some youthful exuberance sometimes just adds a spark. And no one can deny that 2022 Yankees team absolutely needed that spark. 100%. You can say what you will about Oswaldo Cabrera, what he is now. Unfortunately, that injury may have robbed the rest of his career. But what you can't take away is what he meant to the team when he got called up. He was a lightning rod. And then Oswald Peraza finally gets called up, and he played pretty well, right? So that's kind of the thing, is that in that moment, they needed that kind of shot in the arm. Now, here's the thing. There's literally no excuse now. You can't say these guys aren't ready, because the way the Yankees operate, we talked about yesterday, you said it best. They treat it like it's a lab. That's how they treat their minor league system. They treat it like, oh yeah, let's experiment, but they don't actually do any field testing. They just let them just sit there in the lab, and they don't actually use them. Well, Jason Dominguez has tons of at-bats in the major leagues, as far as I'm concerned. So there's no excuse not to call him up, because I'm sorry, he's better offensively right now than Trent Grisham. He's better offensively now than most of the guys in the lineup. And oh, by the way, what's so funny about today is he actually hits Rasmussen, which nobody on the team actually does. So to make matters worse, it's just unreal. But I wanted to really dive into this, because I'm tired of watching this lineup. And there's no reason. There's actually no resume for us to sit here and be like, you know what? Yeah, they're just going to turn it around. No, because this is the thing, okay? Ben Rice is in the process of ascending, right? He doesn't need to turn anything around. He's just going up. We know this because he's shown the process of slowly getting better and better and better. We know that. Austin Wells is falling off a cliff. He is literally declining, it feels like, rapidly since his rookie year, which, by the way, not just since his rookie year, since like after August in his rookie year. After August, he has not been...
Numbers. You brought up those numbers in details. You mentioned September, his rookie season. We went into detail about those numbers, because what we always say on this podcast is you are who you are most of the time.
Absolutely.
That's our assessment on these players. And if you're really honest with what Trent Grisham has done last October, he was a no-show. In reality, Trent Grisham hasn't played quality baseball for the Yankees in 2.5, 3 months. He was dismal in the second half of the year for the Yankees. It wasn't good at all. Now, you can look up and say, well, there's a lot of these guys, they're still top this, top that. And I like the point that you just brought up, is that some of the players that might get called up, they might not be the best player at the position. But if you know, I'm a veteran who may make $22 million in the outfield, and this is not actually to pick on Trent Grisham, because I mean, well, I think he can handle it. He's a multi-million-dollar athlete. But having said that, it's more about the standard, that if you don't come ready to play, regardless of what you make, we're willing to give up your job, because we're here to win a World Series title. We're not here to appease you. We're not here to create value for you. We're not here to help your agency. We're not here for any of that. So I think really in the end, it puts Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone in a room where they say, we're losing baseball games. What are we willing to do about it? Are we willing to step on toes and not be a player's manager? Because you know the best thing you can do as a player's manager, just let guys play. Just let Jazz go hit 10 for 56. Weather warms up. He starts hitting homers. Grichuk. You continue to play Randall Grichuk. More times than not, he plays against lefties. In his career, he's had moderate success against lefties. He'll eventually, in the summertime, be hitting homers. And as a player's manager, you simply could just wait around. Wait for these other teams who don't have quite as much depth as you to undergo injuries, right? The Toronto Blue Jays are doing that right now, Jake. You've been texting me that multiple days this week, talking about the health of the American League East. All of those are going to be factors. But all of that leads to the Yankees being more comfortable. We've got more good hanging around, and they're not trying to squeeze the most out of all these players and using their system as a wedge, essentially, to pull more out of Grisham, to pour more out of Jazz, Grichuk, Escara, because frankly, it seems like a bunch of dudes who are just like, oh, I'm second in line and that's not changing. So I'm cold. It'll heat up. No big deal. These guys, Jazz has been here, in my opinion. He's not a veteran the way he's talking in the media. Just full stop. The way that he's discussing his presence in our locker room and on this team is as if he's been playing 12 years in pinstripes. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I don't want Jazz to suddenly become an unconfident version of himself. But what can't happen is when people are almost having this mentality that I'm an untouchable product. Trent Grisham won't be on this team next year. Jazz Chisholm may not be on this team next year. Grichuk could be off this team. Escar could be off this team. And yet I list off 45 at-bats, 56 at-bats, 12 at-bats. Grichuk is starting games, Jake.
He's awful.
And
he's
so
awful.
It's bigger than just what any one player is doing, and more to do with the fact that Austin Wells can take 39 at-bats, have 6 hits, and feel good about himself because he hit a home run yesterday in a loss. That Ryan McMahon knows, I'm not going to lose my job because I'm 4 for 35, but I'm also making $16 million. So they're not trying to eat all that. So I can just show up and say, it's going to turn around, instead of just acknowledging it's unacceptable. And some of these other guys may need some burn. So yeah, by the way, you mentioned Cabrera because I love that you talked about the fact that they were lightning rods, right? We watched Cabrera rob home runs in right field.
Yeah.
We watched him. He was hitting. It was the best version of Cabrera that we ever saw, which is honestly, it was exactly what we needed at the time.
Which,
Cabrera
by the way,
has never been a great player. Never.
What did I say when we were, because we didn't have a show then.
No.
But we actually were streaming then. I don't know if you remember.
We were playing video games. I do remember.
I wasn't sure if you remember. In that moment, we were streaming. There was something that I said, and you actually you were like, that's a really good point. Mm-hmm. Cabrera, as soon as he had any sort of push, right, competition to play, right?
Right.
There was no complaining. There was no, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm an outfielder. What did he immediately do? I'm going to play second. I'm going to play third. I'm going to play short. I'm going to play first.
Yeah.
The Yankees don't have that on the roster. They don't. And that's the reality, is that Cabrera offered kind of this new, era of Yankee baseball where a player would come in and he's like, all right, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I'll do it. And that's my biggest issue. All these guys are complacent.
Right.
They're all complacent. I mean, Trent Grisham doesn't have to look over his shoulder right now. He's like, oh, Jason Dominguez is in AAA. I won't be benched at all.
The point that you brought before the show, because you were talking to me about this point, and there are a lot of people saying, you know what actually would be the best thing is if the Yankees call up a Jason Dominguez, you move Cody Bellinger to first base, and a lot of the reason that you're hearing a lot of these moves, it's like, hold on a second. Why are we sitting here moving guys out of position so that Trent Grisham can continue to play on this baseball team? How about this? If you're not performing, you get off the field. That doesn't mean that guys can go through an 0 for 30 and then all of a sudden they never play for your franchise again. I understand that some people are like, I don't want to see you again. Yeah. But the precedent that needs to be set is that if Trent Grisham is going to play this way in October, in September, and then all of spring training and then going into the beginning of the season in March and April, and I'm like, you're only really playing because you're making $22 million. That's the only reason he's playing.
To cover up a $22 million mistake.
It's a mistake. And then here's what you do. You say, Cody Bellinger's clearly not a problem. He's never been a problem for the Yankees. You keep him in left field, and Jason Dominguez shows up and plays center field. You just plug and play. You don't need to jump through hoops to keep Trent Grisham in the lineup. The guys who don't play well and are low energy don't play. And I'm sorry if it seems rough around the edges, if it seems just rude, mean. These guys are vets. They've been around the league for 6-7 years. Frankly, I don't care. Ultimately, when we pay you this type of money, the least you can do is do the job we tell you to do. And sometimes that job is to sit down next to coach. That's the reality for Trent Grisham right now. You're not playing good enough baseball to demand to play. And I'm not telling you guys he's demanding to play, but Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman aren't collaborating together enough to say this guy is not playing good enough baseball to be playing for the New York Yankees. Austin Wells is not playing good enough baseball. Randall Grichuk, Jazz Chisholm even. And you're just listening to a lot of what these guys are saying, And there's just no, I don't want to say panic because you don't want these guys to panic. There's no urgency while playing poorly. It's just, it'll heat up. We'll be okay. And I want to get some of these super chats, Jake, because we have a lot of them.
Before we get to that, by the way.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Because we'll have more to add to that point and everything.
Yes.
I mean, I think you want to move guys around, put Paul Goldschmidt at first, you know, and give him some at-bats. I mean, it's repulsive that he hasn't gotten. We're going to talk about it. I cannot believe he didn't get the at-bat today. Actually,
what happened to Goldschmidt's role, by the way, now that you mention it?
So Goldschmidt, we were worried about him taking up Rice's role, like getting in the way, right? And now he's going to be platoon. Well, now he doesn't even come in when he should come in. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go with Ryan McMahon. Gary, I actually did the guesswork here, and I can tell you from the research I did on this, because I was really curious. I was like, maybe Ryan McMahon has better numbers than Goldschmidt.
No chance.
He does not.
No chance.
So my thing is, right, if it's at the end of the game and he doesn't have better numbers against righties than Goldschmidt does, maybe they're marginally better, maybe they're marginally worse, it's not a huge deal. Okay, fine, you want to keep Ryan McMahon in, he's been in the whole game, you feel like he was having better at bats, fine. He got a hit earlier. What bothers me is the high leverage. That's what Paul Goldschmidt does. I'm convinced that's the only reason he's on the roster. Now I don't know why he's on the roster. If they're not going to use him, you know what they could have done? You know, it's kind of hilarious. Is like, if they're not going to use Paul Goldschmidt, they could have just kept TJ Rumfield, who's literally leading Colorado in hits and would probably be leading the Yankees in hits right now. They could have just kept him on the roster. Instead, they trade him away for a guy that we won't see ever. I don't think that guy's ever going to work out. He has incredibly awful control issues. He's got good stuff. Yeah, he has no idea where the strike zone is. But so we're never going to see him. They just continue to use the minor leagues as a lab, never call up those guys. And then the guys that actually should be getting playing time, like Paul Goldschmidt, are having to fight for playing time at the end of games as a pinch hitter. But Randall Grichuk can have a whole 0 for 4 skid, and no one really bats an eye. It feels like we're being duped. When you see Randall Grichuk today in the lineup and Ahmed Rosario's not in the lineup, what is your mind? What are you thinking? Because here's my thing.
Did you see him win Player of the Week?
Yeah.
Did you see the game Player of the Week? And I tweeted, I said, his reward for being Player of the Week is he gets to sit down. And actually, if you look at the Yankees box score,
next to coach,
see 2 or 3 players coming off the bench for the Yankees. And before you can recognize to the naked eye, oh, that guy didn't play because he's below this guy. If you look, the guys who were hitting 300, 290, and like 285, each and every one of them was a guy who came in late in the game.
Yep.
Somehow, some way, they're not playing in the series finale to avoid a sweep on the road in division with your best pitcher, your ace. He's our ace, and Cam Schlittler on the mound. Yeah. What are they thinking? And it's like, I want to think, okay, Aaron Boone has to just be a complete clown in this situation. And then all of a sudden, they'll try and explain, well, the reason that Paul Goldschmidt's on the roster is because he has a niche job. When we get late in the game, we want to put the bat in his hand because he's one of the best situational hitters. Jake, we read that quote over and over again last year. And then we get into the situation where Paul Goldschmidt's sitting here warming up and swinging a bat in the dugout. And Jake, you text me and said, where's Paul Goldschmidt? And obviously we're all thinking the same thing. But having said that, if we don't come through in this situation, the game ceases to exist. We lose. So what does it matter about the defensive assignment in extra innings? It's a do or die situation. So Jake, when you get in October baseball and everyone says, oh, it'll all be fine, right? They'll turn it on. They'll just perform better in September. They'll perform better in August and they'll win the division. We think they're going to win 90 plus games too. But Jake, if we get into a situation just like that situation today, Aaron Boone is going to make these type of choices under pressure. You cannot win a World Series if those are the choices you make. And that, by the way, is even acknowledging that Randall Grichuk, Ascara, Wells, McMahon, Caballero, Jazz, that whole group, Grisham, all turn it around simultaneously and they become a great baseball club, you still have a manager willing to make choices like the choice we saw today. It is despicable. The lack of just mental fortitude that we're showing on a daily basis, managing this ball club, and as well as, to your point, using our farm system, those guys in our system should feel unmotivated by the lack of interest that we show in that group.
I think Cam Schlittler today felt like, oh, I just gave up a run. We're going to lose.
Yeah, I felt the same way, by the way.
I mean, I didn't think he was bad today, but I felt like, okay, now it's getting to the point where it's starting to affect the pitching. Because it's like at some point or another when you don't hit, everyone knows that. You know?
Chandler Simpson was in our ass today. That dude. I know how you feel.
I told you could have an entire lineup of Chandler Simpsons, like kind of how you've said you could have an entire rotation of Sandy Koufaxes. I'm not saying Chandler Simpson is Sandy Koufax as a hitter,
of course,
but everything he brings to the table, and I thought Michael Kay perfectly encapsulated this. There is not a player in baseball like Chandler Simpson right now. No. Doesn't mean like there's never been one. Billy Hamilton was very similar. And it seems like, and I think he's better than Billy Hamilton, but
he's much better than Billy.
But the point being, like Juan Pierre, Billy Hamilton, those guys, there've been kind of similar guys to him. But a guy that just hits for pure contact, can bunt for a hit at any given moment if you're not ready. Even if you are ready and you play it perfectly, he's still fast enough to beat that out. Can steal any base and turn a routine gapper into a triple. Okay?
Yeah.
This guy is unbelievable, and no one has an answer for him.
Well,
and
we definitely don't, by the way. A team that just shows no mechanics whatsoever. We just look like we're not coached. It almost seems like someone's dad in the bleachers is our coach.
He's hitting 411. We're almost
he's good.
We're almost in the middle of April. Okay, 411. Yep. That's Ted Williams territory.
Yeah, obviously it is early, which you know. Yeah. But what I actually give Chandler Simpson more credit than any speed guy in the history of baseball. You want to know why? Because no one's trying to do that now. Matter of fact, they're all being coached to do the opposite. And something Michael Kay brought up on the broadcast the past couple of days is that Chandler Simpson seems to know how he wants to play. He doesn't get outside of himself. He just knows. But somehow, some way, you just know if the Yankees got their hands, if it was forced, they put force trades on and we got Chandler Simpson. Don't you know he'd be hitting 7th and he would hit 14 home runs a season? Because that's what we would do.
Chandler Simpson would absolutely be hitting behind Ryan McMahon right now.
Yeah, and he would be trying to be Curtis Granderson in pinstripes.
Yep. That's probably why Caballero's struggling. They're like, all right, really good stuff, but we'd like you to hit 20 home runs. And it's like, I'm a 5 home run guy. Like, what are you talking about?
They probably don't deliberately tell players that we want you to hit homers. But what I would imagine the Yankees talk about behind the scenes is launch angle, exit velocity, like some of the basic numbers that we've just heard a million times vomited. And I think when you talk those type of numbers, you start to look at the at-bats and you go, oh, I watched Ascara hit. That looked oddly similar. I watched Grichuk hit. That looked pretty similar. I watched Jazz hit. He talked about 70% swing all last year. But then when you see him swing, you go, oh, it looked oddly similar to the swing I saw from McMahon. You realize that we have a lot less style and flavor to each at-bat as time goes on, which is obviously interesting. And I do see that our guys, Ninja and Yankee Fan Girl for Life, they're back from London. I don't know if you noticed that, Jake. I'm sure you did.
Hell yeah.
See in the comment section. So Ninja Hot Dog, welcome back with the 10. Says replace the entire infield. Thank you for the 10. Says can't hit, they can't defend.
Except Rice.
Except Rice. He can hit. His ops is 1,200, and they can't bunt. That is true. We can't bunt like Chandler Simpson. Let's put it that way. If George were here, he would have ran onto the field and removed these guys from the game himself a long time ago. And one thing I think Jake and I both agree on this point is that there's a happy medium between where George was mentally and where Hal is mentally. And there's probably somewhere that we should be sandwiched in the middle. The game's changed a lot. The Dodgers now spend more than anybody, right? The Mets are willing to spend just about as much as anybody. There's a lot of teams out there. The Toronto Blue Jays are willing to give out $500 million contracts. The game's changing before our eyes with all the money in the game. But having said that, there has to be a middle ground that we find between being patient with players in cold streaks and then just yanking them off the field at a moment's notice. We've got to find some type of ground where guys are scared to lose their job. And unfortunately right now, you've mentioned there was a couple of prospects that I'm looking forward to you talking about some of these prospects that you told me about and you bringing those players up, because I could tell you right now, the Yankees probably aren't even looking their way.
Yeah. How about this? Before we get into that, talk about Jason Dominguez. I want to show you kind of it's early, but I want to show you what Jason Dominguez could end up being.
Please do.
Okay. Because I've been keeping an eye on a certain player. I loved him coming out of the draft. He's a St. Louis Cardinal. Okay. I'm going to show you his Savant page right now. His name is Jordan Walker. He has been so bad to this point. Defense, hitting. I think Dominguez was astronomically better than Jordan Walker, right? But look at what has happened. And I know it's early, Gary, but look at what has happened. You look through this Savant page and tell me what you see. So this is a guy that spent some time in AAA last year, recalibrated himself, and now all of a sudden this is what we're seeing, and he's only 23.
He was considered somewhat of a bust.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he was considered a bust. Now,
Total
mind
bust.
you, it's not like the Cardinals fans are said that this can't work anymore. But it's the beauty in a player being 23 and not 33.
Exactly.
Technically speaking, this isn't just a blanket statement for all players that are 25 and below, where it's like, well, he's only 22, so he can always work out. It's like, no, a ton of players just end up sucking. So you have to acknowledge that fact. But having said, Jordan Walker, the Cardinals gave him enough leeway to say, we had him highly touted for a reason. And we're not going to go away from it based on temporary reactions in production and lack of production, if I say that. So having said it, Jordan Walker was always this player. The only thing that would have stopped this from happening is either poor development, and that's on the Cardinals, or just simply signing a veteran and not allowing this player to play. Because I'll tell you this right now, Jake, if Jordan Walker was doing this at AAA, would anyone care?
No.
They wouldn't care.
Nope.
And that's where the Yankees are right now with Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez is tearing the cover off the ball, almost hitting 375. No one cares because he doesn't have a runway to actually get an opportunity to see if he's improved and shown who Jason Dominguez should really be.
That is not... Oh, you can't see it, but anyway. It was funny. It looked like Jason Bay's picture. That was not Joe Adell. So Joe Adell...
That would have been hilarious.
Joe Adell is not exactly the Savant darling.
Jason Bay.
I know. It was literally Jason Bay on the Pirates. I have no idea why that was his picture. And then it just changed to this guy right here. So it's like... But anyway, Joe Adell is another one. I know Michael Kay seems to think that his career's over, but... and we love Michael Kay. But look, he doesn't have like the greatest OPS, but he's actually hitting for average for the first time in his career.
Yes.
And he's playing a wicked good defense. I don't care what this says. I don't know how he is a negative.
Well, hold on a second, Jake. He robbed. I don't care if he's hasn't caught a fly ball all year. He robbed 3 home runs in one game in a 1-0 game. His fielding value should be 300.
I've been watching him web gem everything. It's every freaking night. So I don't know.
Wow.
I also was going to use this to transition to Trent Grisham and why I am officially breaking up with Savant.
Oh, I haven't looked at this.
I am breaking up with Baseball Savant. It is now become, because you know what, Gary, we were treating it a little bit too much like the Bible. It's being broken up with tonight. And you're going to do the same thing. I'm telling you right now when you see these numbers.
If it says fielding run value, anything over 65th percentile, I've like this video.
Oh, that is so funny. Gary has left the building.
Okay, so I want you to all understand what you're looking at. Trent Grisham is horrible this year. Okay. Everyone acknowledges that. They know it. But these numbers are exactly why the Yankees brass talks about luck, right?
It's unreal.
This is why they say his expected on base, his expected batting average should be about league average. His expected slugging should be almost 75th percentile. His hard hit percentage is 99th percentile. That's great. And they also told us that the fielding run value is going to be over league average. It's going to revert back to what his career normally was. So having said all of this, the Yankees probably look at Trent Grisham and say, no, he's actually performing. They're just not falling. And so it's not accurately breaking down what you guys are watching. So yeah, Jake, I am all for an entire divorce.
Yeah.
From this entire program. What a joke.
I will still look at it, but it's no longer the Bible like we treated it as.
You can put it up on screen. I'll allow it. I don't give a damn what I see. And by the way, the walk percentage makes total sense. He's trying to walk every at bat. So yeah.
And this is also I want to show, so you see here the arm value. I want you to zoom in on the arm value and the range, okay? Like look at that. It's not good, right? It's not what you want, we'll say. The fielding, the arm value, the range, the base running, and the batting run value. Watch this. That is Jason Dominguez last year.
So he had a cannon, he had no range, and overall his arm was about middle of the pack because he couldn't really get to stuff. So for your arm to be a factor, you got to get to the ball. And if you said, what are the main things that this team needs? You'd say hitting and base running.
Yep.
Hitting, base running, and hitting. Bullpen, base running, hitting. And that's what Jason Dominguez does. But he can't catch fly balls. Well, those guys that you're talking about that catch fly balls, they can't hit. So what's worse? You tell me.
I've broken up with, because defense still matters. I'm not going to say it doesn't. But Jason Dominguez, I'm just going to say, I have a feeling right now, April 13th on the East Coast. It's April 12th for you.
Uh-huh.
Jason Dominguez currently is a lot better than Trent Grisham.
Oh, God, yeah. Do you think, by the way, there's any chance? Because I want to leave, not hope, but let's just try and assess the opportunity we actually have to get some positive reinforcement here from the Yankees front office. Do you think there's any chance? Because they did this with Cabrera, right? They did this with Peraza. Do you think we have any chance of getting Jason Dominguez? I think Jason Dominguez is the guy for the job. What do you think the likelihood of it
I think it becomes very likely because you can easily just say, you know what, Grisham is just not living up to what we were expecting. My problem here is that it's going to cause a whole other issue. He's going to be on the roster and Grisham is going to be getting at bats over him because they are obsessed with this dude who, by the way, isn't homegrown. He was a throw-in in the deal and had one, like I said, one big season. And he walks, but he was 0 for 4 today. And when they needed him late in the game, like I've said, he was a nothing burger. So
can you pull up Trent Grisham's stats? I don't want you to pull up his Savant page. I don't give an apps two butt cheeks about his Savant page, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But just pull up his statistics because those are data. That's data that we can actually crunch, right? That's what people that listen to our podcast really care about is what type of numbers can you put up. I want you to show Trent Grisham's stats on our screen right now. And I want everyone to just take a good look because when we make it seem like Trent Grisham put it together and he was just Babe Ruth, I want you to realize what you actually saw statistically, because I'm here to tell you right now, that season was not nearly as good as what people keep talking about. It was bad defense and a player hitting, what he hit, 220?
Yeah, it's not what you want.
Brother, it's a good season for Trent Grisham. That's the context. For what Trent Grisham was the first 5 years of his career, his 2025 was great. But in comparison to what Jason Dominguez could be possibly for the Yankees, or what's even probable to happen from Jason Dominguez, just what you expect from Jason Dominguez is probably just as good as Trent Grisham will be this year.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're acting like they don't get this because Trent Grisham makes a lot of money. They understand this fully. So it is, in my opinion, a very conservative way to manage your ball club, and it's going to affect not just Trent Grisham and the New York Yankees. It's going to affect all of our prospects because you don't feel that if I'm the better player, I have an opportunity to make this roster over a veteran. Of course you should. If you're the better player, you should be there.
They're telling you straight up that you're never going to get like if you're Spencer Jones, you're never going to get an opportunity.
Jake, take a look at the home runs. Right? I want you to just, because this is the reason he's on the field. Can you take a look at his 2025 home runs? It's the big 3-4 right there.
Yeah, 34.
34 home runs, right? That's the reason why the Yankees think he was great. The Yankees realized he had 74 ribbies because he led off. Makes a ton of sense, right? No one's going to pick on that. Having said it, take a look at his doubles. His doubles in 2025, he had 9 of them.
Yeah, because he can't run.
Guys, that's horrendous. And they'll say
he had 8 in 76 games the year before.
The reason they're going to tell you he only had 9 doubles, guys, is because Yankee Stadium's a short porch. He's not a barn burner. So if he pulls the ball, which he's a dead pull hitter, no duh, we all watch it. He's a dead pull hitter. So when he pulls the ball into the gap, he stays at first base. That's their explanation for why he's got 9 doubles. No, he's simply trying to hit a homer or walk. It's the exact definition of what they were going away from when they signed Alex Verdugo. Obviously, Verdugo was a really bad example to try and fix it. But the whole reason we went towards contact was to get away from this. And now we have our number one prospect, and Jason Dominguez not on the roster because we're looking for a guy to hit 30-plus homers and never split the gap, never show speed, never defend. And we're worried about Jason Dominguez because he doesn't defend. We're not over the target right now.
And we won't play him in center because God forbid, maybe just maybe that might help. But no, not going to play him in center. That's where Grisham patrols. Which, by the way, I've said it. I don't care what anyone says. I don't think Grisham is a good defender. I don't. And I don't think he's ever been a good defender with the Yankees. I think he was elite before the Yankees.
He was great with San Diego. Yes. Defensively. Offensively, he was the exact same thing. The only difference is that he didn't really, outside of really his 2021 season where, I mean, he was much better. But now, I mean, you just see, take a look at his stats, 2021, 2022. You see 28 doubles, 16 doubles, right? 31 doubles in 2023. Then he comes to us and he's like, oh, you know what I'll do? I will quite literally, all those doubles, I'm just going to change my game completely and put the ball in the air, and they're going to pay me the big bucks, and we're the fools. You said it last episode. We are the fools.
Yes.
Yankee Fangirl for life. Thank you for the 20. Grisham, get off my screen. Appreciate it, Jake. Thank you. Of course. Thank you for the 20. We really appreciate the support on our channel. It says, we were just in London and Paris. Sadly, you had to think about Yankees baseball while you were in such beautiful places. Mm-hmm. It says, so many people walking around with New York Yankees hats that I would guess know nothing about baseball, let alone the Yankees. I mean, everyone owns a Yankees hat at this point. I think so long as the franchise sells merch, Hal is happy, win or lose. Honestly, Jake, I don't really believe that. In my opinion, Hal wants to win just as badly as anyone else. The difference being Hal wants to prove he can win in his way. And that's what we continue to do.
To spite his father.
It's definitely an ego trip. And I don't believe Hal is as bad as people cover him, but his ego's absolutely killed this franchise. His ego to continue beating the drum in the way that he wants to do it in his rhythm of patience and letting people just have all the say in what happens and goes down in our locker room. Unfortunately, it's really polluted what we're trying to do here. So yeah.
If Hal would just fire Brian Cashman, I think he'd have the fan base back on his side entirely.
I would say so. Yeah, because it would at least show you're willing to cut off, maybe not the head of because everyone considers Hal the head, but it's really the brains of your operation that you're trying to, it's the brains of this little Death Star that you're operating. Well, chop off the head because Brian Cashman has been here way too long.
I've seen it a lot. where fans will be like, look, I'm not one to like root for people to lose their job, but when you're complacent and you're the reason for 10, 20 years of mediocrity, yeah, you need to go. I mean, I look at the Miami Dolphins with Chris Greer. That dude was the GM for 20 years. Why? Did the Dolphins win a Super Bowl that I didn't know about? Why was he there that long?
Mind-boggling.
It's insane. And if you look at the contracts he gave out, utterly insane. So
I think it makes sense if you're the GM of a franchise. If the franchise, like, let's just say you were the general manager of the New England Patriots during Tom Brady's 3, 4, 5 championships with the organization, I would say, all right, well,
yeah,
what am I really complaining about? I mean, how many franchises win 5 Super Bowls? It's you can count on one hand.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So once that happens, you're not going to wonder why someone's in their job for 2 decades when they win a quarter of the time. But having said that, Jake, we haven't won in 17 years. So is it just considered enough to keep our jobs because we win a lot of regular season games and then we never win the important games? Well,
you know who hasn't won? Well, actually, when's the last time he won? I want to actually make a comparison here. That a guy that we've actually quoted on here multiple times.
Who's that?
Mike Tomlin. So
he reminds me of Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is like still talking about his championship from 2008.
The motivational speaker.
I'm like, dude, you haven't been. I was in junior high when you won a title, and he's still coaching, talking about championships. I'm like, dude, I was in 8th grade. I'm 32. You shouldn't be talking about championships at all.
So
it makes no sense.
Mike Tomlin's last Super Bowl appearance was 2011. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, excuse me. And then they won in 2008. So almost exactly the same.
Yeah, they beat the Arizona Cardinals when I was in 8th grade. And then when I was a junior in high school, when I was a junior in high school, they lost to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in their only Super Bowl.
Wait, is it Doc Rivers' last championship, 2009?
I believe it was 08. I thought it was 08. I thought the Lakers won in 09, if I wasn't mistaken.
I don't think so.
Either way you slice it. That's
it was 08. Okay.
Yeah, I'm him.
They lost in 20. They lost in 2010 to the Lakers. The Lakers beat the Magic, I believe, in 2009.
Welcome to Lakers Unloaded. Doc Rivers Unloaded.
But the point being, and the point stands. Doc Rivers. This is actually perfect timing. Doc Rivers was just let go today because
he was not. Stop.
He's terrible.
He was let go today?
Awful. Yeah, he was let go.
Oh yeah, he's not good at all.
They had enough time with his preaching, and they're like, "All right, we're tired of hearing about 2008. You can go." To be fair, the record, I think he's like 30 games below 500. But also on top of that, he was let go. Mike Tomlin. Okay, they said they mutually parted ways. I can tell you, the Steelers were done. They moved on. So the point being is you have those two guys, championship in 2008, championship in 2009. John Harbaugh won a championship, and that was a lot sooner, more recently than those guys. He's gone. They let him go. So I understand I didn't just bring up baseball, but you could just, for obvious reasons, you could talk about the former Houston Astros manager.
It goes to show that you can't put things on your resume, and it's not always valid.
You have to eventually continue to deliver. You can't just deliver once in 2008 and be like, you guys can't get mad at me. I won in 2008. It's like, hey, Brian, how long have you been here? How long have you been here? It's not just since 2009. You've been here a lot longer than that. So
he's been here, I believe. Did he get here in 98?
I mean, he's been there a long time. Let me look right now. Brian Cashman.
I mean, he looked about 56 in 1998.
He did not age well. 1998.
Remember when he got pulled over and he was like, "I'm the GM of the Yankees"? I'd have been like, "Oh, really?"
Here's your ticket.
Him on the spot.
Oh yeah,
I would have given him a ticket immediately. I'd be like, "Oh, you're the GM of the Mets? Oh no, the Yankees. Oh, okay. Yeah, here's your citation for being a buffoon."
Brian Cashman owes George Steinbrenner everything. He literally just installed him as the general manager. He's the youngest GM to win a World Series in MLB history, age 30. They also won 114 games. So understand what I'm saying here. This team was already in place.
Well, of course, he didn't put the team together just that year.
No.
And we also have other players.
But
other
you know
players
the casual ass people that don't know this, they're like, I don't know why people hate on Brian Cashman. The guy had 114 wins his first year as a general manager.
It reminds me of the time where the Warriors passed over. Remember, they passed over Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. They passed them over and literally just poached him from Mark Jackson. And he was like, Steve Kerr's the greatest. And I'm like, the greatest? This team is disgusting. What are you talking about?
They got lucky because Klay Thompson got hurt and Steph Curry got hurt, and then it made it easy to get all those guys. But yeah,
we definitely acknowledge that the last thing you want to do is make people's accomplishments seem smaller than what they are, because it's really difficult to accomplish things. That said, when people accomplish things in 2009, eventually those age out and those expire, and you need to adapt your game, right? That goes for all sports. It doesn't matter. So you can't do what you did in 2009 and then say, well, the reason we're not really winning to the same degree is because now other teams are getting into spending. There's more rules and regulations on our spending. So it's really leveling the playing field. Well, really all you're doing is telling on yourself, suggesting that if you can't spend over the top of everyone else's head, you have no ability to win a championship. That's literally all you just said. So, Nick, we really appreciate the super. I know you're burning into the screen, my man.
OLEDs, they're gone.
OLEDs are gone. Yeah, if anyone has OLED screens, you're screwed. We know there are a lot of people, by the way, that listen to our podcast on Apple. Jake, I looked at our analytics. There are a lot of people that put us up on their TVs in their houses, which I can't believe they tell us that. But
furthermore, we had 7,000 views on yesterday's episode just on YouTube alone. So you guys, I don't know, man. I'm not used to it. I can't even believe
7,000 people watched yesterday's game. It was not enjoyable.
No, actually, I've actually heard that people, when they don't watch the Yankees game, they feel even more inclined to like just jump in here and listen to us. They're like, all right, you went through the pain that I didn't have to go through. Now explain it to me. So
that's probably what I would do instead of watching this. I mean, you literally could have done anything with your Sunday, especially in the middle of the day. You could have been with your family. You could have gone to a buffet and got diarrhea. It would have all been better than today's Yankees game. Nick with the 5. We really appreciate the support. Thank you for it. Says Cashman will not admit he made a mistake by letting go of Grichuk and having Dominguez called up now. Well, I mean, he's never admitted a mistake ever. He still hasn't admitted his mistake for Anthony Volpe. They're acting like he's just rolling out the red carpet. So yeah, Nick, to your point, there's no mistake. What mistake, right? And then Woj, I hope this is Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN.
It's Wojo.
Thank you for the 10. It's Wojo and Woj bomb.
Thank you for the lemon.
Yeah, says this is the curse of Anthony Volpe. This is what we get for wanting him gone, punishing us for making the rest of this team worse than him. I don't even know how to take this super chat because it's like
this reminds me of there's this one player in the NHL, totally blanking on his name, but it's like known if you pick him up, everyone gets injured if you don't play him.
Oh, really?
Like everyone at his position just notoriously gets injured if you don't play him. Like it's like a thing.
Okay, so it's kind of like Good Luck Chuck, that movie. I think it was like that. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? They're like, yeah, if you date this guy, then all of a sudden the next guy you meet, you marry. That's kind of the situation. It's like
it's like the reverse version of that. Yeah,
it's the reverse version. You're just so bad if you try to replace.
Why would you sign that guy? If you're superstitious, you'd be like, dude, this guy's going to ruin my entire season.
Yeah, I do wonder how superstitious everyone is in our comment section, because if you are, then yeah, it's been ugly at shortstop ever since Anthony Volpe left, as bad as he is. David, really appreciate the 20. Thank you. Says, bring up Lombard. We got someone who's trying to get active here. Lombard, Dominguez, and Jones. Sit down, Grisham. DFA Grichuk. Is that Grichuk? We definitely didn't call him that earlier today. Definitely, absolutely not. That would be reprehensible on our parts and unprofessional.
Yes.
Move Belly to first and Rice to catcher. Well, Jake, at least you got that, right? Somebody wants to move Cody Bellinger to first base, but they're not doing that out of the sense of getting Grisham a spot and keeping it. They still want to sit down Grisham. So,
we can talk about this. Yeah, we can talk about this because I actually mentioned before I I read off my desired 13 to Gary. And the way I see it, and obviously this is not going out and trading for anybody, signing anybody. It's just using who is in the Yankee farm system and who's on the roster.
It's realistic.
So obviously I would DFA Ryan McMahon tomorrow. They're not going to do that, but I would. But it costs $16 million. I don't care. It's a bad purchase. Just get rid of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you make a bad purchase,
already. It's already gone.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't have a selling market and it's just taking up space in the house. Just get rid of it. Period. End of story. That's Ryan McMahon.
It's like that expensive video game that you have on your PlayStation. You're like, this game sucks and I paid $60 for it.
Do you know what it's like? Have you seen Code Violet? I've never seen PlayStation reviews go as low as that. 2.8 out of 5.
So it was
not
like a
worth
triple
the space
game on your PlayStation. Oh my God. Big budget.
Yeah, like $60. So Ryan McMahon is Code Violet. Anyway.
So you've DFA'd Ryan McMahon. That's your first move. Okay.
I've DFA'd Ryan McMahon. I know they're probably not going to do that. Grichuk, they are going to DFA. Make no mistake about it. We saw this last year, except Grichuk wasn't even good in the minors, okay? He wasn't good in spring training. We saw, I almost said Pablo Lopez again. Pablo Reyes hit well in spring training. Remember? That was like why he made the roster, and we were kind of happy for him because it's like, oh yeah, he's just had a hard time sticking anywhere. Then when he played, we're like, kind of never want to watch this guy ever bat ever, right?
That's right.
What's so funny is he's hitting better than half of this roster right now, what he did with the Yankees, and we hated what he did for the Yankees. That said, the reason I bring up Pablo Reyes is because the Yankees got rid of him. Remember that? We were like, the Yankees are never going to get rid of this guy, and then they finally did.
Yeah,
they're going to get rid of Grichuk. They're going to realize he's completely past his prime. Which, funny enough, I was having this conversation with my buddy Alex, huge Yankee fan, and him and I, for years, we've always been in agreement. Didn't want the Gallo trade, hated the Ryan McMahon trade. Like, we always tend to agree on a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And so we were talking about it, and it's just like, only the Yankees would get Randall Grichuk now. Like, Randall Grichuk would have been a great pickup 5-6 years ago. Now it makes no sense. He's way over the hill, right? Just like you can't get Paul Goldschmidt when he's an MVP. You have to get him like when he's 38. Just like you couldn't get Randy Johnson until he was in his 40s. Just like
Randy Johnson literally had an AARP card by the time he came to the Yankees. And like literally all the players, they're looking at Randy Johnson like this is a legend of our game. But it's like, could you imagine we had Randy Johnson in like 02?
Right?
Yeah.
So my buddy Alex, he brought up, he's like, I can't wait to get Soto back after his Mets contract is up. He's 43 years old.
When he's 56. Juan Soto in real years will be 59 years old by the time we sign him.
It's insane. But here's the funny thing is, it literally, like, because people are going to say, well, no, that didn't happen with George. You're kidding yourself. That happened with George even more. That's been the Yankees. My dad, the one thing he said, like, and I'll never forget it, like when he was trying to like teach me the Yankees ways when I was younger, he's like, they would take like Roberto Kelly and trade him away for like an old over the hill player. Like that's what they would do. They would have like really good prospects and they would trade him away. And it's just funny to me because like they do that. Like they got Kevin Brown over the hill, Ichiro Suzuki. I mean, like Tom Gordon. You know, this is what they do. And now it's like, here they are getting Grichuk over the hill, right? And so my thing is, Grichuk obviously has proven he's not very good. He is only a detriment to the Yankees. If you don't believe me, what did I send you today?
I'm going to pull it up.
I sent you his Yankee numbers, like against the Yankees. This dude, I'm not kidding you. If you didn't know this, Randall Grichuk has slaughtered the Yankees. like versus the Yankees. He's hit like 18 home runs in like 68 games against the Yankees.
Which is also fair, by the way, Jake, because Randall Grichuk turns 35 years old this August. So when you actually talk about his numbers against the Yankees, none of those numbers came, to your point.
Yeah.
When he was almost, I mean, he's literally close to retirement. So
Exactly.
I understand that, like, the Yankees would say, of course, we didn't expect him to be the same Randall Grichuk. That's why his role is what it is. But at the same level, you gave Randall Grichuk at bats over Paul Goldschmidt, who's a more proven at bat. Jason Dominguez is sitting in the minor leagues. And in place of that, you're putting in a 35-year-old in August who's a role player in his place. So we're just putting names on the paper and saying what they've done in the distant past and saying it's going to work. That's
Speaking of paper, right, by the way,
go ahead.
I sent you the meme. Randall Grichuk's WAR, I'm not a WAR guy, is negative. So
you sent me a meme?
A piece of paper has a higher WAR than Randall Grichuk.
Funny. That was so funny. Yeah, I laughed out loud at that.
That is hilarious. Amazing. I didn't make that.
It was negative 0.3, correct?
Yeah, it's negative 0.3 WAR, and the piece of paper had a 0.0 WAR, just in case you needed clarification.
When we get back to Yankee Stadium, there should just be a piece of paper in left. I think I'd rather see it.
This sign has a higher WAR than Randall Grichuk. Oh my God, somebody please.
Because we can just put a piece of paper in the batter's box and we'd say, hey, this piece of paper, the only way it gets on, it won't hit, obviously, but it can walk. The pitcher may throw balls. It's the same at bat as Trent Grisham. Right? It's the same at bat. If they throw balls, he gets to first base, and then Aaron Judge is up. He can't steal. Neither can the piece of paper. And if Aaron Judge hits a home run, we'll have Aaron Judge run over and pick up the piece of paper and run it around the bases for a 2-run jack.
I know they got Paul O'Neill for Roberto Kelly, but the point was Roberto Kelly type of prospects were who they were trading away for like over the hill guys. Paul O'Neill happened to work.
Comments. The wheels are spinning here. This is good.
Yeah. Paul O'Neill happened to work out, but also that trade didn't look great when they first made it. So
it's the type of trades, to your point, that we make. We make the type of trade where you just go for the proven vet who definitely has, you're looking for some juice left at the bottom of the tank. That's what the Yankees do. And everyone knows that. You get the Andrew Jones, right? And
the
Hall of Famers.
What's Chris Carter? That's the one you brought up the other day.
Dude, Chris
How did we never have Adam Dunn? He was like the perfect Yankee. All he did was hit home runs.
Ichiro was
I
just
loved
so
Ichiro
gangster his whole career. Just one of the most fun. First of all, one of the nicest guys ever. And then we sign him, dude. By the time we signed him, he looked like an Uber driver. It's just like roaming right field.
But at the same time, all of a sudden, he had all this power.
Yeah.
Do you remember he hit his first home run and John Sterling was like the rising sun? I was like, what? He's like 42.
it's so disappointing because it's funny, but at the same time, as time goes on, you want to develop. And you know how I am, right? They traded away Fred McGriff for Jay Buhner. Yeah,
for Ken Phelps. My dad still to this day crashes out about it. He's like, how did they do that? I'm like, Dad, I don't know. It's like, it was ridiculous.
But when you spend a lot of money, you don't really care because the Dodgers traded away Yordan. You know, I always say this fun fact. It's like the only fact I know. Yordan Alvarez gets traded away by the Dodgers. No one gives a rat's ass. Why? Because the Dodgers just replace him with talent after talent. They get Kyle Tucker. They get Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, right? Teoscar Hernandez. Nobody cares.
But they traded for Josh Donaldson, who was the MVP 7 years before they got him.
I don't know how we didn't think of that one yet.
I know. Look.
We'll get Tarek Skubal in like 9 years.
Oh, did you see Alex? He didn't do a super chat, but he did like a regular chat. And
what did he say?
I saw it. It was like, we'll get Paul. I'm excited to see Paul Skeens in 2043. Oh, my God.
We'll probably
that's
get
hitting
Paul
too
Skeens.
Close to the vest, though. That's too realistic.
Paul Skeens will be a Yankee, and then he'll run for Congress right after it.
Paul Skeens. Oh my God,
this is unbelievable.
I can't. I love our chat so much.
Unreal.
So let's get back on track here with this lineup, right?
Yep.
Because, I mean, what do we have to even say about the pitching? The pitching isn't the reason they're losing. Schlittler, was that a quality start today by definition? If not, it was close.
I can check for you to be exact.
Five innings, 7 hits, 3
so it's quality.
Runs. Yeah, quality start, 8 strikeouts. Then Yarborough gives up a run, and then Hedrick gave up a run later on. Doval looked pretty decent. I mean, like, they gave up 5 runs, and I always say, like, you should win every game you score 5 runs in. But, like, at some point or another, the Yankees need to give some run support. So this is what I'm going to say. Ben Rice, unfortunately, you don't deserve this. You got to move to catcher. You have to move to catcher right now because it's that bad. Paul Goldschmidt, you need to start playing. You need to be playing first base. Jazz Chisholm, there's literally no other option, so you just need to figure it the hell out. I can't defend him any longer. Shortstop, is it crazy to say that in their entire organization, the best defensive shortstop is George Lombard Jr.? Is that a crazy thing to say?
It's not crazy to say, and the only reason he's not called up here is because they're worried we could stunt his growth.
They're worried because they messed up with Anthony Volpe. Maybe that was Anthony Volpe, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like they could possibly be 2 different people?
Yeah, like you don't have to just... It's stupid. But anyway, third base, Ahmed Rosario. Aaron Boone should receive day jail. Literally like a day sentence in jail for not having Ahmed Rosario. Every night he does have Ahmed Rosario in the lineup, jail.
Do you know I'm actually surprised by that? And when people go, "Oh, how are you ever surprised by this ineptitude?" I'm not surprised by most things, Jake. Like remember when you said, "Why isn't Goldschmidt coming off the bench?"
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised by that. It's just ludicrous, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't surprised by it. Having said that, in this situation, I actually am surprised to not see Rosario because you'd think when the offense is playing this poorly, you'd grasp onto anything that looks like good production. And I'm just shocked that any manager in the sport wouldn't be like, oh, that guy won player of the week and our whole team can't hit water if they fell out of a boat. They're 0 for 11, 0 for 12, 6 for 39, 4 for 35, 7 for 48. Those are all statistics. And he didn't just throw out Rosario immediately. You should be trying to get Stanton and Rosario in the lineup any chance you can get. And Stanton is probably the only guy that you can justify not playing because you're trying to protect his health. Rosario's not on that boat.
No.
So he should be playing. I was shocked when you text me the lineup today. I couldn't believe my eyes that Rosario wasn't playing.
I actually punched air. I'm like not afraid to admit that. Are you kidding me? Like I was pissed because here's my thing. It's entertainment as well. We've talked about that. What is entertaining about seeing Randall Grichuk in the lineup over Rosario? By the way, Randall Grichuk and Rosario are both right-handed bats. By the way, Rosario came in as a right fielder. He replaced Stanton, who pinch hit for Grichuk, and they had to pinch hit Grichuk, the 6th hitter, because he sucks.
And who does Rosario hit well again?
Lefties?
Lefties.
Yes.
And what is Grichuk's job to do on this team? He's a platoon to hit who?
Lefties. And he can't hit anybody.
What? He's 0 for 12.
0 for 12.
What are we talking about
with
here,
like
guys?
7 strikeouts. Like he strikes out more than half of the time.
It is really the only difference between Grichuk and Rosario.
By the way,
one is producing and they both have the same job.
By the way, we can't have Spencer Jones called up because he'll strike out too much. It's like this is the bar you've set.
He's 0 for 12 with 5 strikeouts.
I don't give a rip. Like you've set the bar. I have to watch this 35-year-old guy who's 6 years past his prime, right? And now I'm supposed to sit here and be like, yeah, he'll just figure it out because the Yankees are feeding me the information that, he's hitting the ball hard. Dude, there are the Yankee Twitter people that like literally use Savant like it's their job. Like I'm convinced they get paid to just put Savant stuff out there. Yep. Bro, this is a new thing that's going on. It's why I brought up Trent Grisham tonight for everybody, because if you haven't been on Yankees Twitter, there are people saying, calm down. Trent Grisham's Savant page leads me to believe he's going to be really good. And you know what? I said that about a week ago about Austin Wells. It was like he's taking better at bats and he's hitting the ball hard. I imagine this will turn around, and it has in the past. I'm done. I'm using my eye test. Here's the thing. I actually believe in my eyes, and I know what I'm seeing, and I know that I'm watching Grisham just walk, and then when it gets late in games, he's just a complete lemon, as you would call him. So here's the deal. Grisham, as Gary would say, you can go sit down next to coach. $22 million mistake doesn't need to continue to be played. Like, stop making the mistake. You messed it up. He can still play. He just needs to be on the bench. He's not a starter anymore. He is not a guy, as we've brought up, that you literally keep a 23-year-old baseball player who's already had over 500 at-bats and is actually hit for average and generates speed on the base paths and has shown potential and actually show that he was getting better, Jason Dominguez. There's no way you keep him in AAA just to appease Trent Grisham. I don't give a shit. Because here's the problem. They make it seem
like he's Bobby Abreu. Like we have some long-term...
it's actually how they probably look at him. But by the way,
yep.
Going back to that whole top, what was it, 13? I had Lombard Jr. at shortstop. I know they're not going to do that because Anthony Volpe is going to be their shortstop. This is exactly what Cashman wanted. He didn't want Caballero to be too good and now have the issue of, Boone's not going to play Volpe. He still is holding out hope that his Volpe thing is right. And I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I would have to imagine Volpe can't do much worse than what we're seeing, but we'll see. I mean,
no, I would agree. I think Volpe won't do worse than what we're seeing because Caballero, his defense has been pretty shaky at shortstop.
It has.
And we would assume that Volpe's defense, it's not as good as what they told us, right? In the Gold Glove year. I watched all of it. So did you.
Yeah.
It wasn't that good. It wasn't. He made some great plays. You'd say that play was magic, right? He had the flashy plays. Okay, that's good. But overall, we know the difference between a Gold Glove shortstop, like a real Gold Glove shortstop, and what that was. Okay. Now, having said that, I believe Volpe probably performs better than what we're seeing right as it stands from Caballero. Keep in mind, Caballero is 7 for 48. He plays more than all the guys that we listed because there's not really a backup shortstop that's sitting behind him right now. Now, Ryan McMahon, on the other hand, we've got guys we can flip over to shortstop. Ryan McMahon also has played. He started at shortstop in a game this season. So you can see the Yankees are trying to just mix and match all these guys. Anthony Volpe was always going to come back to this team. They don't just give a guy millions of dollars and then hand the keys to somebody else. They had a plan for Anthony Volpe. As crazy as that may sound, this is exactly what their plan was. Exactly.
I also wanted to bring up Yankiel Fernandez. This is a player I brought up to you. This was actually the minor league guy that you were kind of queuing me up for.
Yeah.
So I found this guy really interesting when I looked into him when the Yankees picked him up. And then it was like he had a cup of coffee with the Yankees and then DFA him. And they're like, oh, okay, they're sending him down to the minor leagues. So he was with Colorado, for those of you who don't know. And these are currently his numbers. Now, I understand it's early on, but this is kind of what I'm talking about. I want to see more from this guy. Okay, I believe he is on the 40-man roster. I'm going to check right now. But I do believe he is on the 40-man roster last time I checked. This is a guy that should be up as depth. Because if you're worried about Spencer Jones not getting playing time every day, this is exactly why you have these guys in your minor league system, in my opinion. Because because
they're worried about devastating the actual value of a Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez.
Yes.
In the off chance that you call them up, they don't perform. Well, a guy like this is performing in the minor leagues, but if Fernandez doesn't perform in the 2-3 weeks you have him up here on your 40-man, it doesn't matter because Fernandez wasn't netting you Paul Skeens. He wasn't going to be part of some big time package. This is basically a risk-free shot in the dark that you get, and you don't have to leverage really that much. You get to take Randall Grichuk off your roster, and you can replace him with a player like this.
Yeah. And he's not on the 40-man roster, so they would have to make a move. But I looked at their 40-man roster, and there are some guys that shouldn't even be on there, so it shouldn't be that difficult.
They can figure that part out. I feel like at the very least, we're getting the wheels turning that there's a player good enough to possibly help the Yankees big league squad without feeling like we're taking away any leverage at the deadline. It accomplishes both, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to be fair to Angel Chivili, who that really annoyed me, that trade, he hasn't given up a run yet. 8 1/3, 9 strikeouts, .48 whip. So I hope it works out. But I was pissed that they traded away TJ Rumfield, who for a guy that I didn't think was that great. He had stuff with no control. So yeah, the way I see it is Fernandez is exactly how you use the minor league system for non-top prospects. Like if you're looking for depth, you don't have to go and get Randall Grichuk. You can actually try this guy out. And they've done it before. You know, we've seen it with Duke Ellis. We saw it with the one hitter that, you know, now he's on another team and he actually has
don't even overthink this. Just to prove you exactly correct, look in our starting rotation. Look no further. Remember how well was Will Warren pitching in the minor leagues when we called him up? Will Warren, the Yankees said, yeah, we actually trust him to be a starter and give us starters innings. He came up, he wasn't a guy that people wanted for top talent across baseball. And somehow, some way, he's managed to go out and perform to a level of not being an ace, but being in a rotation over a year and a half later. Will Warren's still here and still performing. So that's not to say that Fernandez will be some mainstay and be on our roster 2-3 years from now. But my goodness, you need at some point to just say, hey, what happened where Rizzo goes down, or if he wasn't performing well, we're going to plug and play a Ben Rice. And then next thing you know, you end up in a situation you didn't foresee. If we didn't have Ben Rice on a roster at that exact point in time, we were dead to rights. So I want people to realize that Fernandez is not going to be a Yankee 5-6 years from now. It's more than likely not the case. But this is the point of when people say, wow, why the hell do they have so many players in the minor leagues? They used to have AA, high A, right? A ball, rookie ball, a million different players with a million different affiliates to all these organizations. The reason for it is for opportunities like this. So you can provide a Band-Aid and light a fire under a veteran's ass in April. Yeah. If you will. So I really like this. And Jake, I wouldn't sit here and lie to our audience and say that I had Fernandez on my radar, because I didn't. And that's, in my opinion, what I actually like about our show is none of this is rehearsed. This is someone that Jake found on his own. And it kind of goes to show you guys, we are thinking and trying to fix this team more than just complain. Yes, we're going to tell you that Ryan McMahon sucks. Grisham stinks. Those guys are overpaid. The trades didn't work. But a lot of other podcasts can do that for you. Here's what we can offer you for a solution. We can actually talk about what the Yankees can do to not find this isn't going to be Teoscar Hernandez, but what it can be is saying, hey, Trent, yes, we're paying you $22 million, and no, we're not taking you out of the lineup permanently. But if you're going to play this way, Yankel Fernandez can come up here, and we're willing to give him at bats at the stadium and take you off the field in a contract year. So don't get comfortable. That's the message that we're willing to send, and we're willing to send it with our prospects instead of waiting around till free agency and paying a $400 million player. Send the message now with young talent, and I actually think the Yankees might run into some players in their system that would surprise them. And I don't know if it's Fernandez, but it might be Jason Dominguez. It might be Spencer Jones, guys at the top of their system. It may really work, Jake.
I think Fernandez is definitely going to be in play. I think Oswaldo Cabrera is a guy that they're monitoring, because keep in mind, he's coming back from a major injury. Okay. So right now he's struggling, but what is struggling? Because I'm watching Trent Grisham hit 133. So I understand this is AAA, but I mean, there are struggles at the beginning of the season. It happens. This is going to be a guy they monitor, because Oswaldo Cabrera can play in the infield and the outfield. He's a utility player. It's actually the best thing for the Yankees is for him to actually figure this thing out, get back to where he was, because he's a very good utility guy to have on your bench. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
gives
He's
them
probably
some
a
serious
better
depth.
defensive version of Rosario. You probably want Rosario's bat. It's most likely better. But having said that, Cabrera was actually an above average defensive outfielder, as well as being league average in the infield. So there's a ton of value with him.
Here's another guy. I liked what I was seeing. Edinson Duran, just to keep him on your radar because he's 23, catcher.
Right.
They trade away all their catchers, so they're like way behind the 8 ball now. This is the problem. When they made that trade for Bednar, they traded away a guy that in Flores that some people thought in the organization he could actually be much better than Austin Wells. And there were actually some people in the organization that thought Narvaez could be better than Austin Wells. So they've gone all in on Austin Wells, and it's kind of led them to like this point. But Duran's an interesting player. He hasn't played a ton, and he's not going to like wow you with the power. But he's a good contact bat. So
most likely going to be a while when you're talking about a guy who is less than 400 at bats.
Yeah,
but he's also 23. It's interesting, right? So some players show up late, other players, and then I just don't know how to take any of these numbers. I just don't know how to consume them because of really our inability to be aggressive with these guys. Spencer Jones is off to somewhat of a slow start.
Yeah, so it was really slow. I want to point this out. So it was really slow at the beginning, and you'll notice it's actually starting to pick up here. Because right at the beginning here, you see it was where is it? He got off to a good start in March. But then it was a bit, pretty slow. He just had a 3-hit game the other night. Okay. So, I think this is going to turn around. I do. And obviously, it's AAA, so I definitely feel confident it's going to turn around. And I also think, again, his type of bat is just going to take some time. We're watching Aaron Judge do the same thing. I think he's literally hitting lower than 235 right now. I know he's in the big leagues, but you know what I mean? So I think it's that type of that profile. Plus Judge has gone away from being
There's more error in an Aaron Judge. Like if Aaron Judge is off, he's off. If Giancarlo Stanton is off, he is off. But when you watch players, a Bobby Witt Jr., right, Vladdy Jr., you see guys like that and you say, oh, much shorter swings, more compact. There's less room for error, less to manage in their swings. There's less holes in their swings. And ultimately, some would argue that they like those at-bats a lot better in crunch time because maybe those swings don't require so many moving parts to essentially be what you need them to be. So that's could also be, Jake, why a lot of people aren't as high on a Spencer Jones. And the reason that he strikes out a lot is that there are a lot of things to sharpen out in a big swing like that. 6'7", 240 pounds. This guy could be playing small forward in the NBA, and he chose to play baseball. So
yeah, he was a pitcher.
We hope it works out.
He had Tommy John, and then he just gave up pitching. So one thing I wanted to point out while I'm giving you options, I also want to point out Max Scherzer because there are people that are talking about him. Okay. This is the opposite, okay? I don't think just anyone in AAA makes sense. Max Scherzer isn't playing well.
Is this guy the coach?
He's 28.
Bro looks 45.
But I've seen him in the comment section. I just wanted to be honest with people. He's hitting 190. Okay, so it's not like he wouldn't be, in my opinion, an option. I know he's on the 40-man roster. I don't really think he's going to be that big of a deal. Wanted to check in on Yerry De Los Santos and see how he's doing. And this isn't bad. I think this is somebody that could help for sure. He actually started a game, believe it or not. So maybe they're trying to work on him as a starter.
Good to me, Jake. He's thrown 9 to 30, punched out 13. His whip's under 1. I think not that every guy that puts up big time stats in the minor leagues, you don't all just get called up.
Yeah, I just don't know why he's not. Why isn't he up? You know what I mean?
We had to have Cade Winquist in there. What do you mean?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so definitely don't want this guy up. Anyway, we move on to Giovanni Cruz, another guy that I really like. And again, just don't know what we're doing. You got Giovanni Cruz and Yerry De Los Santos just absolutely off to blistering starts. But guys Gary, the big thing about these two is that they were doing well in spring training. and they already, in my opinion, were pushing for a roster spot, and the Yankees got to like, it almost got to be like too much favoritism, like this whole run it back thing. They wanted to keep like the same bullpen almost, and I just don't like that.
Oh, it felt like we were running somewhat of a college program, right? You've got transfers, you've got freshmen coming in and incoming guys straight out of high school, and then all of a sudden you get to the program, everyone talks you up. You're going to play right field. You're going to be the quarterback. You're going to big fish in a small pond, and then you get there and all the juniors and seniors play and they suck. That's really where we are right now. Is all the juniors and seniors are on the field and doing senior night, and they're losing 10-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And I understand they paid him guaranteed money, and I did like him. But if Paul Blackburn, like, we're not going to get what we saw at the end of last year, like some hints of having some potential there, I don't want him on the roster over guys like Gary De Los Santos and Giovanni Cruz. That's just my personal opinion. Brendan Beck is pitching well, in my opinion. I think he's looked really good. You'll notice the strikeouts to innings. This is kind of the new archetype for the Yankees. They've really focused on that. And I know you and I don't love that, but we don't hate it either. I mean, that's still,
Well, it's not like we're allergic to strikeouts.
It's not of course
the best thing in the world if hitters, especially in the minor leagues, are consistently putting the bat on the ball. It's obviously better if they didn't, but chasing strikeouts, and maybe you're not in the zone all the time and you're constantly trying to create strikeouts, it also can run up pitch count. Like, I need to watch you in person and see that on screen to actually know how you get those strikeouts. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a big difference between Cruz getting strikeouts, who also walks, like he might walk 3 guys in an inning, as opposed to somebody who's all over the zone, like a Paul Skeens, right? So there's a difference between one guy's strikeout versus another. So I don't read too much into the strikeouts. I just know when we are evaluating the player that you just put up on the screen in LaGrange, people talk about the strikeout numbers. They talk about the 103, but then at the same time, you need to be aware his ERA is 3.38 for a reason. Right? Guys are on base because he's allowing them on base without swinging. So those strikeouts don't come into play until you get your whip under control and get guys off the base path. So yeah, I completely understand where the Yankees are coming from. They want to get guys that miss bats. They're much easier to plug and play under in crunch time. But the reality is you got to throw strikes. Jake, we are way behind these guys. You guys have been awesome with the super chats. Didn't even realize. I look over here. Raging Pianist, thank you for the 5. Mark, welcome back in. Says Jazz tried to sell us the $30 million trailer before the movie. It actually reminded me of who was it that said that? It was Vladdy Jr. Vladdy Jr. said, no, this was just
going to be a movie.
Now the good news for them is it had a happy ending. They eventually won the AL. People wondered whether Bo Bichette and these guys were worth having on their team. In the end, they were. Right, they
might be able to get him back if they want him. The way the Mets are,
which would be probably good for the Jays fans. I'm sure both parties would be happy. He got paid in New York, and then you leave. But the point is that yes, we're off to a pretty bad start here. But it turns out it went straight to DVD. Yeah, Jazz is in the DVD phase. He is turning it around some level. It's not nearly as bad as it was. So I'll give him some credit for that. So Mark, thank you for the super. J Tank with the 5. Really appreciate the broccoli. Says, I notice a trend with the Jones case too much crowd. Many also want Lombard called up. I point out he's hit 235 over 2+ years and needs more time. J Tank, I agree with what you're saying. You can't really argue with numbers. But having said that, when you're talking about a player who's 20 years old, you really can't count his batting average in age 18 minor league seasons. Those are quite literally non-factors into what he's putting together. You really can't start evaluating an asset until they're probably about 19 or 20 or even 21 years old. I get it. This is not a 12, 13-year-old, but when you're talking about the minor leagues, how good was Derek Jeter playing when he's 17 years old in our system? It's like, would we really have, and even if it was like, if he was playing well, would you really take into consideration what he did in rookie ball? It's like,
I also think these guys get stale. Hey, you're in the minors for that long. It's like, when am I going to get called up?
You
And
said that about Spencer Jones last
Yeah.
year. You said he's ripping the cover off the ball. When's he going to Double-A? And then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, he did. But what was the purpose of waiting? He was Babe Ruth at that point. So, J-Tank, I hear what you're saying. Jake probably somewhat agrees with you when it comes to getting upset about the strikeouts because it's a
ridiculous.
little overblown. But yeah, I don't want to read too much into overall batting average of a player who's 20 years old. And then J-Tank back with the 2. Thank you. Says no hitting Goldie the last 2 days is fireable. And as we know, Jake, nothing is fireable.
Day jail.
It is day jail. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Spend a night in jail. And then Jersey Girl with the 2, who's got the Seinfeld photograph. Love that. Never seen Seinfeld, by the way.
Really?
Says, yeah, never. How is the 6-7 spot batting 0 with a $320 million payroll? Jake, it's a super basic question, but has anyone ever thought to answer it?
How is JC Ascari your 7th hitter?
Oh, he's just our backup catcher. Our starter's not
How
in
is
there.
Randall
what's your
Grichuk
starter
your
hitting?
6th hitter?
What's your starter hitting? Oh, our starter, he's 6 for 39. Oh, Randall Grichuk, how's he starting? Oh, he's hot right now. Oh, is he? Let me look at the stats. Oh, he's not. He actually is just starting, and he's 0 for 12. It's not, Jersey Girl, we don't have an answer for you, obviously. We're not that smart. We can't decode buffoonery. But
this is the most Timu lineup ever.
It is a really, really bad lineup.
The bottom of the bottom half is just straight Timu.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. And by the way, guys, if you're new here, we're an hour and 26 minutes in. I wanted to remind you guys, probably should have said it a lot earlier. Please be sure to subscribe. And liking the video is the absolute best way you can support our channel. Obviously, we're super thankful for all of our super chats. It helps get a lot of the conversation going. If you want to force something into the channel that needs to be talked about, we definitely take things off our live chat. But when we have too many supers, we have to obviously get to them. But yeah, guys, really appreciate it. And make sure you guys hit the bell icon as well so that you're notified. People say, oh, I subscribe. Where are you guys? YouTube won't tell you unless you actually tell them.
Gotta love that.
Alerted. Yeah, we do. We really do love that because we don't want subscribers to actually watch our stuff. We just want the numbers to be on. It's quite ridiculous. So, Jersey Girl, thank you for the 2. And Ninja Hot Dog is back for more. Thank you for the 5. Says, I'm a huge believer in luck, actually. Is he? Says, if someone's unlucky, then get the F off my team. We do talk a lot about luck. We do talk a lot about luck. And by the way, I did say a couple episodes ago, Jake, if you're ever around somebody that tells you they just have bad luck in life, you want to get away from that person.
Somehow their bad luck is just going to sprinkle into your life.
It will. And that's a fact. Like that. This is life advice. If somebody tells you
I meant to
nothing ever goes my way.
Somehow.
Have you ever watched, Jake? I'm assuming, by the way, you haven't watched this, so I'm just going to let you in on something. Have you ever watched The Secret?
Nope.
Came on a DVD in like the early 2000s. You ever watch that?
I have not.
You have not. So here's the whole premise of The Secret. The whole premise is that if you focus on what's negative about your life, no matter how many good things you've got going on, you're only going to notice the next negative thing. And you're going to think you live a negative life. And the same goes in reverse. If you only pay attention to the things that are actually going well for you, no matter how shitty your life actually is, you're not only going to notice exclusively the good things, but more so you're going to think you live a good life. That's why there's people in this world who can make $60,000 a year, $30,000 a year, even less than that. People can be on food stamps and they live quality lives. They spend a ton of time with their family. They're good parents. They can do all of those things and be happy when they pass away in their 80s and 90s. And yet there's people who can be multimillionaires and be miserable and tell you money doesn't bring you happiness and my life sucks. Moral of the story, you don't want to focus on people talking about luck. Focus on people who are worried about results. That's where the Yankees should be. And I had the same exact conversation on a player I love on our roster, Jake, and so do you. And his name is Ben Rice. Yeah. Ben Rice was hitting into a lot of bad luck last year. And what did I say? I don't care about his luck. Do better. And what did he do this year? He started to read shifts and act accordingly. He can't steer the baseball the way that you'd love to do in a video game. But what you can do is stop hitting the ball into pull shifts and say, well, I hit the ball 112. And so the Yankees will love that exit velocity and my expected batting average. He didn't care about expected batting average. Now you look at his real batting average and it says it's over 300 and his ops is over 1,200. That is the adjustment that Ben Rice made. So yeah, Ninja, I obviously we're exaggerating here a little bit. But yes, when people are just obsessing over luck, we would agree with you. The whole luck conversation is overblown.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely fair. Who's the one said I create my own luck? What movie was that?
Anyone know in the comments? Remember, by the way, do you remember when we would exclusively tell people to put movies in our comment sections and people did that?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was amazing. Oh,
that was a good time.
Duh. Harvey Specter from Suits.
Oh, that's like one of our favorite. That's both. We were watching that show at the same time. Love that show.
Dude, Harvey Specter is one of the greatest fictional characters ever. I was actually sad to realize he's not real.
Yes, I know. And also, even more sad to know he doesn't even live here. He didn't even live in the United States.
There's probably a reason for that, but yeah.
Yeah. They recorded the show in Canada. I was like, wait, you mean to tell me? No wonder you guys weren't showing like the World Trade Center. You weren't showing any of that stuff. You weren't even in New York. It was devastating.
Yeah, it's like, I don't get lucky, I make my own luck is famously associated with Harvey Specter. Gabriel mocked.
I love being around people like that. Obviously, people would say that's cocky, but it's like at the same time, you need to
look at everyone in that show.
Yeah,
that doesn't like Harvey Specter. It's amazing how every single dude that doesn't like him, and you look at them and you're like, that checks out.
That makes a lot of sense. Welkin, by the way, so you're totally right. Welkin, I want to bring up two things here. So first of all, he says expected batting average is the worst thing ever. I could not agree more. It is a devastating stat to ever grace our eyes.
Lord.
So having said that, Welkin, I did see your comment. I told everyone, I read all of our comments except the losers, but Welkin hopped in our comments and said, guys, you got the Trent Grisham, the way that we assess Trent Grisham's response to Jazz, right? And we said, we don't want to hear from you. You're next to the locker. What Trent Grisham was saying, and Welkin said that we had his quote wrong and he was correct. Okay. I want to on air mention what Trent Grisham was getting at. And essentially speaking, and Welkin went into depth about his reply, read all of it. And he said, no, what Jazz was saying is that Jazz was thinking about, well, if I threw the ball to first base and then we ran down the runner between first and second, what would happen then?
It has to be a force.
At that point, it has to be a force. And Jake, we obviously discussed that.
Yeah.
And my answer to Welkin, of course, was why would Jazz have to sit there and spin his earrings and go, so wait a minute. So if I had thrown the ball to first base because I bobbled the ball or I was thinking I had to tag him, it's like everyone and their mother knows that when you got that baseball, your only option was if the ball was hit hard enough, you had to throw it to second and to first and record a double play. But because the ball was squibbed to you, it wasn't hit hard enough for you to actually roll a true double play where you release the ball. You had to tag the runner. And if you didn't get a force at first base to the runner going to first, the guy at third would score no matter what. And the fact that Trent Grisham, who was accurate, by the way, you couldn't have afforded to throw the ball to first base. It's insane that we had to have a player explain that to a starting second baseman who wants almost $400 million. It is. So Welkin, we really appreciate you. I know most podcasts would close their butt cheeks because they heard that they were wrong or they would ignore it. We don't do that on this show. So I'm glad you corrected us. And I wanted to do that here live on the air.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, Welkin. And obviously we appreciate it because, I mean, Welkin's in every single show.
And I hope he's there at Yankee Stadium because I hope September 8th, we want to meet everyone, anyone we can, and talk baseball because I know that by that point, the Yankees will have had their summer. I know they don't traditionally play well in the summer, but the Yankees should be in much better shape than they're in now. And hopefully everyone's in a good mood talking Yankees baseball. And if they're not, we'll be your
September
therapist.
8th. If they're,
and we'll be charging you guys $100 an hour to be your therapist at Yankee Stadium. We're kidding, of course.
That's
all you got to do is book it on Open Table, and it is, I believe, free. to get into the Audi Club, and then we will have a great time 2 hours before the game, and then obviously probably during the game as well. And where were we for the Supers, Jake? Are we at Jay Spanton? Is that correct?
I feel like we're at Jay Spanton because we were talking about luck, and then I brought up Gabriel Mocked / Harvey Specter.
Yeah, I'm so happy you brought up Harvey Specter because I'm going to get right back into the show.
That was a sign from God. Like, yes. I was just relaying it to you. You must watch Suits.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Of course.
And Jay Spanton, thank you for the 5. Welcome back in. I know this 5 is not for the Yankees runs scored, so we really appreciate you being in here. Said, missed today's game. What's happening? Rays unloaded. I'm actually hitting up Phillies game this weekend. Philadelphia's not playing great either. This is me and the bro. Try to hit up other stadiums. It's definitely a good time. I'd probably say baseball is the best sport to travel. Basketball is probably the worst. But going to other stadiums, going to San Francisco to watch the Giants play, you can have even Fenway. Obviously, there are rivals. It's amazing going to these different fields. And yeah, this is not going to be Rays unloaded. I don't know. Not sure if there ever will be. There's potential for it. But
I mean, Chandler Simpson unloaded maybe.
Jake wants to do that. He actually told me that before the show. He said, "Can we just cancel the whole show and just talk and just vouch for the Yankees unloading the farm?" Jake, you even said it best. You said we should just unload our system for Chandler Simpson.
Dude, if I had 9 Chandler Simpsons in my lineup, I'm winning the World Series.
Yeah, you'd be a happy man.
I mean, just imagine, like, he's broken this is what I texted you. He is literally Shaquille O'Neal in the MLB game. He has broken it beyond repair.
Yeah, it feels like it. He could just slap a ground ball to Jazz, and Jazz would probably just fall asleep at the wheel.
He doesn't have to slap a ground ball.
Second and third. When we saw the opening single, do you know actually when I saw that? Yeah, I know. When I saw the opening single, I saw Michael K. He goes, and he's off to the races. The ball had just hit the outfield grass, and he said that. Yeah. I took it as he'd already scored. Just by being on first base, there's nothing we can do with this guy.
He's a psycho, and honestly, I like it. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a combination of Tony Gwynn mixed with. Okay. I'm gonna fuse 3 together: Jared Dyson, Tony Gwynn,
okay,
and our guy Stephen Kwan.
Okay,
I'm not saying he's as good as Tony Gwynn. But I am saying
when
that
you said Tony Gwynn, I could hear it through the screen, like right here through my screen, all the butt cheeks puckering. Tony Gwynn.
Just the swing is similar. You know what I mean? Like he's just trying to put it in play, not really trying to do too much.
Yes.
And also, to be fair, he's only struck out 3 times in 56 at-bats this year. So
it's incredible. And by the way, that's a team-wide commitment that the Rays have made. It's not just luck. I know people talk about luck all the time. The Tampa Bay Rays 25. Have the highest batting average against pitches over 95 miles an hour. That was a scouting report that everyone should have known and been paying attention to. Now we do on this podcast, and when you put in a pitcher that is a fastball pitcher, right, to the point where his entire game is shaping a sinker, 4-seamer, and a cutter, and when you're throwing high 90s, the worst team you could run into is not the Dodgers. It's not Houston when their lineup's red hot and they can't get an out. It's not the Jays on the road. It is the Tampa Bay Rays.
They gave up 3.
It just so happened they were ready.
They gave up 2 triples today. They gave up 3 triples in the series.
And they're not done. They're actually fun to watch. I know you said it was annoying, and that's true. Good teams are annoying to watch.
Well, it was annoying like every time they're bunting. I mean, that gets a little ridiculous. At that point, it just felt Bush League. Like you're going up there like, oh, I'm going to bunt. I'm going to bunt. I'm going to bunt. I'm like, how many bunts? How many? Like,
I agree with you. It's not entertaining.
No.
That part wasn't entertaining. Like the bunting wasn't entertaining. But the enjoyment I found in it is watching another mentality on people that think they know the best way to play this game, which is just load up the lineup with 6 hitters and 5 hitters and try to hit homers all day. Watching guys play just a small ball, little man type approach, I loved it. Like just to expose how wrong we go about our game.
Yeah.
I like it in the short term.
I get what you're saying. I think for me, what's so interesting is that, I mean, we talked about this roster construction, and it makes no sense. they have some young guys, then they have a bunch of like old guys. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But Kevin Cash is the best manager, in my opinion, and I don't think it's close, in the AL East.
I like Schneider as well in Toronto.
I think Schneider's good, not great.
Okay.
I think their GM is really good. They've
really
built
good.
that team well. But there were times like Schneider does manage kind of a funky game.
With his rotation, he definitely makes some interesting decisions. None of them are really perfect. I mean, it's not
Kevin
like
Cash watched the World Series. Aaron Boone turned that shit off. That's the difference. You saw it today. I mean, was that not watching the World Series, watching what? Because, again, we've talked about this before. The championship game, the finale, that should always be the showcase of where the league is at. So you should be watching that. That's actually what I was told about the Super Bowl. Like, everybody should be tuned in because you should be looking at what is actually in right now. Are we that far off?
You wouldn't know what year it was. You'd probably think it was 2019 if you watched us. Like, hey, what works?
I know.
Well, if you set the home run record, you hit 229, you strike out a ton, but you do walk a ton. So you've got talented baseball players, but they're all kind of committed to play the same way. You're going to go ice cold all at the same time. You're going to get red hot all at the same time. And you're all going to go ice cold and there's probably going to be like 2 or 3 of you that are still, we can't even explain why, but they're red hot in October. But then you're going to look around and go, where are all the complimentary players? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm trying to do what he's doing. It's the same thing every year.
And this is not a good roster. Like, let me make that very clear.
No, it's not.
The Rays don't have a good lineup. I don't think it's any different than the Yankees, except for the fact they have a guy hitting .411. If you really look, Cabanero's hitting 246. Aranda is hitting 217. He's been awful. He has a 286 on base.
He's really bad against Cam.
He's their 3 hitter. Yandy Diaz is hitting 362. So that's one of the really good hitters, obviously, who we've tried to acquire 3 years in a row.
We'll get him in.
Tried to acquire. They're waiting for him to get to age 40, and then, Jake Fraley is somehow their 5th hitter. He's hitting 219. Cedric Mullins is done. Like, I know he had a triple today. He's hitting 137. He is at the end of his career. It's sad, but he's
a good fit for us.
Yeah. Palacios, he's hitting 211. Okay. Taylor Walls is hitting 333. I'm pretty sure he's bunting 333. All I've ever seen that dude do is bunt. Fiducia is hitting 200. So my point here is that there's a lot of like bad batting average. I know it's early, but it doesn't look that much different than the Yankees. The difference is it's the speed. I mean, did this not feel like going up against the Blue Jays light, but also the Red Sox when they were just stealing bases left and right against Trevino, which that series in Boston pushed Trevino out of the organization. He was like done after that.
Yeah, when that happened, it was just a complete unraveling. It was just essentially they pantsed him on national television. That's what happened. That's what it was. Because what it showed is, that they just broke this player. He actually has no answer for this. And there were people in our mentions saying, no, wait a minute. You can steal off pitchers too, where it's like not 11 times you can't.
Yeah, I got broken today by what's his name, Precious Achuya. That the basketball player.
You mean the guy? Did he finish you off today?
Yeah, he destroyed me. So it is what it is. But you guys can do better than I can. Well, I don't know. I like this. I like this lineup that I put together over on. Once again, Gary just doesn't exist. Gary just does not exist. All right, over on Prize Picks. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video and pretty much every video. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups. Do it, sign up. HMA is the code. Check it out in the description below. As you can see on the screen, I figured I'm never going to touch the NBA again because I don't like the NBA. So I'm just going to stop doing that. And now I have a bone to pick with Precious Achuya, even though I couldn't tell you what team he's on. So this is my bread and butter here, the NFL. So if you guys want to copy this thing, I got Matthew Stafford having more than 3,875 yards passing in the 2026 NFL season. I got Jackson Smith and Jigba, the offensive rookie of the year, and obviously MVP Matthew Stafford. I have Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN, going for 1,324 more than that in receiving yards. Bijan Robinson going for more than 1,149 rushing yards. Ashton Genty is definitely going over 1,000 yards. I don't know what they're thinking here.
Should also add the under for Ryan McMahon to hit under 100 for the year.
Oh, that wasn't an option, but I like where your head's at. Devontae Adams led the league in touchdowns last year, and he missed like the last 3 games of the year, so I'm going to say that he has more than 9.5. And Justin Jefferson is too good to have another down season. And they got your boy Kyler Murray, who we've mentioned on this show more than any football player, I think. Kyler Murray is his quarterback, and we got Justin Jefferson. Well, I got Justin Jefferson having more than 1,149 yards. You can follow that and do your own in any sport over at Prize Picks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Great job. He's a corporate man. But Prize Picks, we really appreciate you. And Jay Span with the 2 says, do the Yanks need to miss the playoffs for change? I mean, probably. You also have to miss the wild card, and the Yankees aren't going to miss the wild card. You pretty much just have to be horrendous to not make it at all. They're going to, even if they made the wild card, they're probably going to do that. So you're not going to get any change. I'm sorry. There's not really anything that can happen. So I wish that there was something more productive I could offer you, but you'd think not winning a title for 17 years would be enough ammunition, but it's very clearly not.
Yeah,
and
careful what you wish for, because I've already seen people like, I kind of want them to just lose, because if they just keep losing, eventually they're going to fire Boone. No, they're not.
No, they're not. Nothing can happen. Absolutely nothing can happen. So I don't care what they tell you about his contract, any of that, because in the end, even we've talked as highly about Michael Kay as really any show that there is. And even Michael Kay had said, well, look how many games he's winning. Look around the league. How many other teams, even teams that spend a lot of money, how often do they win 90 plus games? And the answer is less than what the Yankees do. So really something that Michael Kay has mentioned, and that obviously the Yankees front office feels the same way, is that we have a high floor. So as long as the floor is high, Brian Cashman isn't doing nothing. Now, he may not be doing nearly enough as what we think he should be doing, but they can defend how high that floor is. So having said that, it doesn't matter what happens and where the new floor is, because they'll just assume that the very next year, it'll go right back to where it usually is, which is that we play overall 90 plus wins. We go into the postseason, we disappoint, and then we have 1 or 2 tweaks to the roster, and we fill in the other 1 or 2 tweaks at the deadline, and we're still disappointed. People get upset at us for complaining, and then we lose in the same fashion, then we rinse and repeat. So yeah, nothing's going to happen. You shouldn't root for these guys to lose. But yeah, Jake, I know you have the same answer. It does not matter what happens. Nick, thank you for the 5. Really appreciate the broccoli. Says, do you think whatever adjustments the Yankees did to McMahon's batting stance made him worse? Jake, do you have any takeaway on McMahon's batting stance? Do you notice any changes because I actually was messaged. I was DM'd and someone said, hey, did you guys get rid of his hitch in his swing? Because he had one in Colorado. I said, I didn't know because I didn't care about Ryan McMahon, but is there anything you noticed that we've done to his stance? I feel like it looks pretty similar to when he showed up here.
I just think he equally sucks, and I think he's just worse. And I think, honestly, it's the location. I think, it's the pressure of playing with the New York Yankees. I do think it gets to people, and Ryan McMahon, and it has gotten to Ryan McMahon. No one can say it hasn't. I mean, he's a 220 hitter on the road. That's not good, but like he's literally atrocious with the Yankees. I mean, what's his career for the Yankees so far?
Probably batting under 180 is my guess at this point. I mean, we're venturing now to new territory.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll show you now. Okay, so he is batting 191 with a 593 OPS. So that's in 68 games. It's still better than Joey Gallo, but
it's almost half a season, Jake.
Yeah,
half of a baseball season worth of games.
Which, by the way, they traded for Jazz Chisholm, who actually cost less than Ryan McMahon did. And I would say they didn't really give up a lot for Jazz. Jazz was a pretty good pickup. I'm not going to lie. I say what you will about Jazz, and I understand, we have our issues with him. That was a good trade. I feel like they won the trade. I understand some people push back and say Agustin Ramirez. And look, Agustin Ramirez is 100% starting over Wells, and he's starting over JC Escara.
I agree.
But he's not like special. And by the way, Narvaez is probably starting over them right now, and he's not special either. So it's not like, also, again, it's the catcher market. It sucks. I mean, outside of Will Smith and Dumper, who I think is an overrated defender, by the way. I'm going to go back
and watch that. The hour and 49-minute mark. It's
all right.
Market sucks.
All right, let me see. Who are the best catchers in the league right now? Who comes to mind for you?
You know what's funny is anytime anyone asks me about catchers, obviously the big dumper, you just said it, but I always think JT Realmuto just for the sake of it. But I know he's on the other half of 30. Like, he's had plenty of good years. I just think his name. I would probably say Will Smith is probably the guy I would want catching for my team.
Will Smith, I think, is the best catcher in baseball. So,
okay.
Shocker, he's on the Dodgers. So we had Buster Olney in February dropped his top 10.
Okay.
Should I read it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It can't be great.
Number 1 is Cal Raleigh.
Okay.
Number 2 is Alejandro Kirk, who, by the way, is going to miss, a bunch of time.
Which is valid because he's built for postseason at bats. I would still probably argue that Will Smith is the better player.
Yes.
But I'm not upset with them putting Kirk at 2.
Yeah. So then Will Smith is 3.
Okay.
Patrick Bailey is 4. Okay.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Giants, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
William Contreras, not to be confused with his brother Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He's 5th on the Brewers.
Okay. Checks out.
6th is Dylan Dingler on the Tigers.
I've heard of him.
7th is Shea Langoliers with the A's.
So you see, like, we're starting to have somewhat of a drop off at this point.
I mean, he hit 31 home runs and had an OPS of, 800 something?
Yeah. Okay. But we're still okay.
But yeah, there's a drop off. 8th is Austin Wells. 9th is Drake Baldwin, who I've never heard of. And 10th is Gabriel Moreno for Arizona. Honorable mentions.
Drake Baldwin, I thought he was in the NFL.
Doug Baldwin?
Yeah, I'm kidding, of course. It's Doug Baldwin, who never takes a hit.
I know.
But, it goes to show you that there's going to be 6 to 7 catchers where you're like, oh, yeah, that guy's a good player. And then the 8 through 10 are going to be pitch framers and blockers. I
agree. I actually disagree with this list. Real Muto has to be top 10. Narvaez, I think right now is probably better than Wells. And I think
Gabriel
Hunter
Moreno also was better because Gabriel Moreno was good in October at one point.
Yes. I also don't know how you can make the argument. Like, I know Rutschman fell off, Adley Rutschman. He's not worse than Austin Wells.
No, if somebody says, would you like to take a flyer on Rutschman, or would you rather have Austin Wells as your starting catcher? I feel like it would be pretty much a no-brainer. I don't care about framing. I just don't, because we have somebody else on the team who can already frame, and
I mean, Rutschman last year, he hit 220. I mean, he wasn't like amazing.
No, he wasn't amazing at all. Hey, everyone in the comment section, you don't have to agree with everything we say. We're not your leaders. This isn't the Holy Bible. I'm not Jesus Christ. He's not John.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comment section. Would you take Adley Rutschman and take the opportunity to see if he can fix himself here in New York over Austin Wells? Don't listen to what I told you. Speak for yourself. You're grown.
I would take Adley.
Let us know if you guys would see what you could get from that, because I want to make the point that I don't know what everyone would say, but I have a pretty good feeling what the average person will say.
I mean, Narvaez has no on base either. So, I mean, he's honestly very similar, but he hits 242.
I mean, I don't really think it's close, and it should just show you the level that we're really at. It's
the one guy
that's
being heavily slept on, and I don't care where he's playing.
Who's that?
I think it's Hunter Goodman. I don't know how you have 31 home runs, 91 RBIs, 278, have an 843 OPS, and not be considered a top 10 catcher. What are we doing, Buster Oldie? What are we doing?
He literally have a hole in his glove, and he's better than Wells.
That's what I mean. Like, this guy did 843 OPS, 31 home runs.
He could have a hole in his chest, can't block, has a hole in his glove, can't catch, and he's still better catcher because of those numbers that Jake listed off already. That's a good baseball player.
And guess what, Gary? Guess what? People will say, well, he played in Colorado. Okay. His road splits, which, by the way, this is 67 game sample size of his starts.
That's the entire Ryan McMahon Yankee career in length.
He hit more home runs on the road, 18 instead of 13. He had 43 RBIs to 48. And he hit 248 instead of 307, but 248's fine. And he had an 803 OPS.
248's fine. If Austin Wells hit 248 this year, I would literally throw a parade.
Dude, honestly, you keep seeing the Yankees just like pry away,
run it back.
Dude, we keep seeing the Yankees just have this obsession with Colorado Rockies players. Why are they not in Hunter Goodman right now?
I don't know. Did you see, by the way, Gary Sanchez field that ball at first base and throw the ball? He threw the ball 97 to his pitcher who was standing 5 feet away from him. You have to see this play. You have to see this play. He fielded the ball to his backhand.
He has a 1,200 OPS.
Who?
Gary Sanchez.
1,200. Dude, you have to go see this baseball play.
It's insane.
Gary Sanchez, first of all, he makes a solid play going to his right. Turns around. His pitcher's obviously tracking to get to first base. He's busting it to cover. He throws the ball like probably 3/4 speed from 8 feet away. Just hits him in the knee, and he had to come out the game. It was one of the worst plays you've ever
There's
seen.
no way. He was playing first base?
Yeah, he's playing first base.
He
chucked it, which, by the way, it's one of the worst plays you've seen, but the whole point of him being over there at first base is because a lot of other teams in baseball prioritize getting guys out there that can swing the bat, and that's why his ops is 1,200. So, I mean, that's kind of the value. It's the reason we had him on our roster. He couldn't catch it all. He couldn't block it all to the point where he had to put his knee on the ground.
Well, I mean, at one point, Gary Sanchez looked like a superstar. I don't know if people understand the gravity of the situation. I mean, he hit 299 his like rookie year where he had 53 games started. He hit 299, 376 on base, and he had over 1,000 OPS. The next year, he hits 278 with an 876 OPS, 33 homers, 90. So we're talking about, especially with the way the catcher position ended up being, Gary Sanchez could have been an absolute superstar. And then he fell off a cliff, and the Yankees didn't have a choice. It was sad, honestly, because I remember, I mean, I was hyped for Gary Sanchez. But my biggest thing, and my dad always brought it up, was, why do they keep drafting catchers that can't catch?
I know they even, remember they drafted who was it? Anthony, like, it wasn't Slater. Who was it? They remember the switch hitting dude? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Anthony Siegler. They moved him to second base.
Yeah, they drafted him. They're like, he could be Pudge Rodriguez. I go, Pudge Rodriguez.
He started. Is that why he started for somebody last year?
I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was on the Red Sox, I think.
That checks out. But no,
Milwaukee.
Nick, we didn't see any adjustments made to Ryan McMahon. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen him make an adjustment his entire tenure.
I'm just tired of Ryan McMahon. Because my thing is, he looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. I'm over those people.
Yep.
I see way too many of those. Because keep in mind, I scout like close to 300 players in the draft. Some years I do 350. Some years I go up to 400, right? I see way too much looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane in football. So when I see it in baseball, I'm like, no, I'm not handling
that's why you
this.
got to watch the film, which isn't always the most fun thing to do, but it's required. It's required, especially when you cover the sport. Mr. Karsha, thank you for the 5. Says, I agree with everything you guys are saying. This lineup is horse dookie. Wow. Horse dookie. Dookie is one of the best words
That's her
in the
favorite
English
word.
language. It's literally my favorite word ever. So thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Obviously supporting the channel. Greatly
Made his
appreciate it.
night.
Yeah. And Arizona Rich, 4,000 with the 5. Thank you for the broccoli. Says Hope McMahon could be a modern day Brocious. Excellent fielder, middling batting average, but with some clutch. But it sounds like he's no Brocious. So Jake, like I told you maybe 6 episodes ago, Ryan McMahon, in my opinion, is going to be fine for what the Yankees have him there for. And he's probably just going to float his batting average around 200 this season. He's off to too bad of a start to recover. He's typically a 220 hitter. He won't recover, but people don't realize how hard it is to maintain a batting average below 200 for 162. Very hard to do. Having said that, I said his typical season defensively is not just above league average, it's electric. Very good defensive third baseman. He just is that. And I think as the season wears on, Aaron Judge starts to look like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, all these guys are carrying a lot of the heavyweight. Ryan McMahon, while the Yankees are winning, will be able to just float around on the roster and people won't care quite as much. That's what I think the end of the story is for Ryan McMahon. I think he's going to be here the next 2 years.
Not for us, but yeah.
Right. But I believe that the Yankees are just going to say, no, Ryan McMahon is still making an impact because all these other guys are pulling rope. It won't be because of Ryan McMahon that the Yankees are winning games. So yeah, Arizona, I completely understand what they were going for, and maybe what you thought this could be. But Jake and I think Jake actually got off this train long before I did. I'm just kind of in the acceptance phase where I'm aware of why he's here. And it was just a dog shit pickup in the first place, especially for the dollar amount that we spent and we traded for. But having said that, there's not much they can do now but pull the plug. So Jake is the first to pull that plug. And Scott Ross with the 10, our final super chat. Scott, we really appreciate you being here. Welcome back in.
Scott.
Thank you.
The GOAT of Twitter, I'm calling him. Yankees Twitter, GOAT.
He is. And now I need to follow him back on Twitter today so I can actually see the tweets, Jake, that for some reason only you get. And I don't get them. So, Scott, I will be following you today if I haven't already, or putting the notifications on, one or the other. He says, this is the football equivalent when the D knows the offense can't score and they have it to do all themselves. Jake, I know for a fact you've covered football teams that do that, and it always ends badly. You've also talked about offenses that score too fast and what it does to the defense, and just in general, how the offense and defense really have to do a dance all season long. Pitchers in the starting rotation have to help the bullpen. The manager has to also assist, right?
100%.
And Scott Ross says only Cash didn't know guys like Grisham would revert to the mean. You're absolutely right. Brian Cashman was fooled. Jake mentioned earlier this offseason it would be a mistake. Usually you laugh at the teams that buy high on players that just had a one season, an anomaly of a year, right? The Atlanta Braves give out 40, 50, 60 million dollars to a player that has 1 year. And who the hell was that again? I just forgot. He got popped for steroids twice. I mentioned his name 20 times on the show.
You did. Profar.
Thank you. Jurickson Profar. Who in their right mind would be dumb enough to sign Jurickson Profar when he was absolutely mediocre and below average for his entire baseball career, has a one-off season after the age of 30, and the Atlanta Braves thought to give him a multi-year, big-time contract, multi-million-dollar deal? Absolutely ridiculous decision. Not telling you that I would have just guessed he was on steroids, but why would you buy when the price was at its absolute highest point, and you could just assume it would go back to the mean? Scott, you're absolutely right. Everyone and their mother, including Trent Grisham's mother, probably knew he would revert to who he's always been, which is a good fielder, guy who walks a lot, and he's trying to hit homers, and he's not a consistent at bat. So yeah, Jake, any last thoughts on this Grisham thing? Because Scott's right.
Yeah, I'm over these guys. I feel like, names and all that, that's all they are. We've seen these type of players before. He's Raul Ibanez. I said that and you laughed and you agreed.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
We've seen so many of these same guys over and over again. I mean, people really were not convinced Ben Rice wasn't just Greg Bird all over again. And I kept saying, I'm like, no, he's different. Like, I didn't like Greg Bird. I knew that was going to blow up, and it was not going to.
I thought he was Larry Walker when he hit that home run off of Andrew Miller. I was like, oh, we're back.
Yeah, it's weird because it's funny, like people call me like a homer when it comes to the Rams, and then they'll say that I'm like super negative about the Yankees. And I find like a lot of the times I'm negative, I'm right. And like that's just the way it is. Like when it comes to Joey Gallo, like there are people, oh, lighten up, it's a great move. I'm like, no, it's not actually. I'd rather have Otto, Ezekiel Duran, the guys that they traded away, over Joey Gallo. I didn't like Joey Gallo as a pickup at all. I just did. I was like,
insinuate that you changed your personality traits for the Yankees. Like, what do people actually think? You're a homer for the Rams, but you're just suddenly a doomer for the Yankees. Maybe there's just things to be doomed about.
And by the way, it's hard to not look like a homer when you're agreeing with everything a team's doing while they're kicking ass doing it.
Right. Like the Rams losing in the playoffs this year was a disappointment to the team. Like it was actually a somewhat of a surprise to the team. They're like, we thought we were coming out of the NFC. Honestly, you could literally put a zipper over your mouth and mine. And the majority of people in the comment section wouldn't be like, no, I think the Yankees are coming out the AL. That's not what the majority would say. So you can just write us off. No one is really that high on what we're doing. So I don't know.
I love the comment section, by the way.
It's great.
Did you see Jerkson Profar's whatever?
Propofol? It is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Jerkson Propofol.
It's unbelievable. It's crazy. Yeah, our comment section, you guys have been great.
Yes.
Tonight, and obviously we're happy we didn't have to hop on here at 2 a.m. Eastern time. So we try to get on absolutely as early as possible. This was the earliest. So thank you guys for obviously showing up and showing out. Yeah, I believe that Greg Bird was going to be really good. And I was wrong about that. And it's okay to be wrong about players. You watch him play. I mean, please. If
I've been wrong before, I want to make that clear. Like, oh, I'm always right. That's not what I was trying to say. When
I right about?
When I'm really, really against a player, I'm typically right. But I've been wrong when I'm really for a player. I was wrong about Oswald Peraza. I thought Peraza would be great.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Ryan Weathers. I got Ryan. I mean, it's not like it's set in stone, but I actually was
Don't jinx it.
I was higher on Ryan Weathers' pickup than most people were. I didn't love it.
I was very high on.
You were high on Luis. You know, I absolutely hated Luis Hill on this roster. You know that since the day
you were excited for him, but you were like, yes. I have my reservations.
As I should be, by the way. Like I should be excited when people play well, regardless of what I think. So
I would say, well, we really liked Luke Weaver, and then I came out and said they've squeezed that orange as much as they can squeeze it, and now he's just melting down with the Mets. Did you see that?
I did see that, and we also, I think both of us were wrong on Wells. I actually thought Austin Wells would be good.
I'm hoping that he can turn this thing around. It is early on the season, but what we've seen is that, like, you have the stock chart for things. Wells has just been going down like nonstop. Like he's going parabolic in the wrong way.
If Austin Wells is a roller coaster, here's the roller coaster. I saw this. And normally when you watch a roller coaster, you see a typical drop, right? Some of the best ones out there. I mean, take your pick. And it'll give you a straight downward. I actually see Austin Wells like this. And for those of you who are obviously on the podcasting side of things, you're really cutting yourself short. Hop on over to YouTube. I see it going literally on the tracks backwards in breaking the space-time continuum and literally going diagonal this direction, the opposite direction. I believe Austin Wells has not only got off to an actual good start for a catcher. He's a good framer. He's a good blocker. He showed power. He showed patience, right? He showed consistent hard contact. He showed that he wouldn't chase pitches outside the zone. And then all of a sudden, he is the least, like probably the last player I would trust in an at bat in crunch time because of literally all those things I would have complimented him on the first year he got here.
Yeah.
He quite literally just did a 180 from what I saw his rookie season in the second half. It's just mind-boggling. And I couldn't have been more wrong about a player. He has been atrocious. And there's not really any way you could get upset that people say, why are you hating on Austin Wells? His stats are hating on him.
Yeah. I don't like, because he's clearly just not the same player after August of his rookie year. And that's the problem, is that in August, you saw a guy that was like, that's a top 5 catcher easily.
He was really good. Really good baseball player.
280, like with power. I mean, the defense was there. But also, it's so funny. The Yankees tell us analytics and all of that, yet they keep getting catchers that don't have strong enough arms to throw guys out. I don't know like what they're doing there.
Well, I think the ones that can hit, for the most part, also can't throw. But then, interestingly enough,
the ones that can't hit, they also can't throw. So you're just like, well, at least they can frame, which is a dying breed anyway, because it literally is being phased out. We should just put a
net back there, like a goalie. You'd think that the way that Austin Wells hits, that he would literally have a cannon. Like he'd shoot a baseball out of a cannon to Jazz Chisholm to tag out guys stealing. Because if you can't throw, he can block. We're not going to cut him short. He can block, right? And the throwing is to be desired. The hitting is as bad as I've ever seen it. He's statistically 6 for 39. He's off to a slow start. He was also off to a slow finish last year. He's also off to a slow postseason. He's not great.
No, it's not what you want.
But we won't end on Austin Wells. Jake, is there anything on a positive note you want to have them drop in the comment section?
Yes.
Before they go tonight. What's that?
Call up Jason, 2 S's.
Drop in the comment section to call up Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez, let's be very clear. He's not the perfect player. Highly flawed defensively. And for the most part, the Yankees are most likely to use him in left field and throwing Cody Bellinger into center field. What I guess they presume to be the most difficult position to play. There's no reason that Randall Grichuk is on this roster. He's not good at anything. And Jake's he was right about that player. I mentioned I didn't hate the pickup, but so far that's absolutely wrong.
I got yelled at
I can change my
Twitter
opinion.
For saying that he was not good. You complain about everything. Everything's bad. Yeah, everything is bad. Have you not been looking? Literally, they don't do anything. Just complain.
Fun. Yeah. Because if we were winning World Series, I'd probably just shut up and start popping champagne. But we don't. So
we can't get Alex Bregman. He cheated. Like, dude, I don't give a shit. I want to win a World Series. I'm over that. I've already moved on.
That I want in Monument Park. There's people who cheated that I want in the Hall of Fame, and you're talking about players that cheated. I don't give a shit.
If Altuve could just join this roster right now for free, would you be like, no, he cheated? It's always FL Altuve. Like, okay, enjoy Ryan McMahon, dunce. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Yeah. It's just stupid.
No, people would rather lose and just be on their moral high horse than to like put someone on the roster that they don't like personally, and they just rather do that than.
By the way, parting words. Yes, call up Jason Dominguez. The Yankees think they're smarter than you, me, and the next guy down the street. They think they're smarter than every single person that's not them. I will say this. It actually cracks me up how often this team just doesn't go after players that typically fit their archetype. There is a guy that I don't think you and I wanted. I wanted to bring this up real quick before we end the show.
Go ahead.
I don't think you and I wanted, but we showed interest in the past, and he was always, kind of, let's just say he was always linked to the Yankees.
Okay.
And that was Muntaka Murakami, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying he's dominating, right? But what I find so funny is that, like, he's got 4 home runs, right? He has a 715 OPS. He somehow has a 323 on base. He's hitting 157. That's not great. But there have been things that I've seen where I'm like, it really makes you wonder. He ended up going to third base. We were talking about him playing outfield, first base. He ends up playing third.
Right.
They totally screwed the pooch on this. Like, this is a guy that literally said he wanted to play for the Yankees, right? He made that known. And has crazy power. And the Yankees love power. But they decided, you know what? We're going to go out and get Ryan McMahon, who we're going to have to keep paying $16 million a year for. And we're going to let this Murakami guy go to the freaking White Sox. That's how you know this is a guy that the Yankees were supposed to end up with just like Okamoto was. When these guys don't go to the Dodgers, that's a gift. You take that. And they
Well,
did
what I think. You know what I think about Murakami. I'm very low on him.
I am too.
I always was. But having said that, I've always said, yes, that's a typical thing the Yankees would do. A power guy.
Yeah.
His ceiling is probably like if he was the player he really wanted to be, he'd end up like Kyle Schwarber, right? If best case scenario, Kyle Schwarber is a great player. That's what he's going for. I'm going to try to hit 242. I'm going to try to hit 50 bombs. I'm going to try to be clutch. I'm going to try to be in the middle of the order. I may be able to lead off because I can walk, right? All the things he showed in Japan. But having said that, I don't think Murakami will be any good. My approach on it was that the Yankees should have just gone in and obviously when you talked about the guy who obviously signed in Toronto, unfortunately, Nakamoto.
Yeah.
That's who I thought the Yankees should have really targeted. And the reality is, I think the one thing that the Yankees just don't do well enough, they don't have nearly enough creativity getting guys who are clearly options in the offseason for bats. But they're like, he can't play left field. He plays third base. He can't play second base. He plays shortstop. He plays third base. He can't play first base. The Yankees are way too conservative in that. They need to be much more aggressive in getting bats that we trust in the lineup because in the end, it ends up where a bunch of guys are decent defenders and that's their calling card. Ryan McMahon's out there to play defense. Trent Grisham technically is out there to play defense, right? Cody Bellinger, they had him there actually to play defense first and foremost. They need to put bats in there first. And Greg Hughes says Yankees have forgotten all of Asia exists, no Japanese or Korean players. No, we'll get one. They just have to turn 37 first.
Oh, my God. All right, we'll end the show on that. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We got all the supers, right? Yeah, we did.
We did get all the supers. Drop Jason Dominguez. Jake wants him called up immediately. I'm right behind that. Get Jason Dominguez here immediately. He's flawed, but he's a hitter. Get him in the lineup. Stat. Drop that and not in the live chat. Drop it in the comment section. And then before you guys go, make sure you guys are subscribed to Yankees Unloaded. Hit the bell icon to be notified every time we go live. Thank you to Prize Picks, our sponsor. Make sure you guys like the video on your way out.